What's going on, guys? Welcome back to #AskGSM here today for Tuesday, May 26, 2026. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well, having a great Tuesday, enjoying your week, and had a great Memorial Day as well. I am Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well. We have a lot of great questions to get into here today from Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all the usual great stuff. So a lot of comments coming in before we hit live here, so I appreciate that. Thank you for joining us live here on a Tuesday. I will give you the full rundown as to how you can include your questions here in the show in just a moment. As we kick off the show here today, do want to shout out our channel members as we always do. Alexis, Miss Maud Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel, Malcolm, at I'm Quarter on X, DJ Swerve1, at Swerve1 on IG, Mr. Marceau, at RJ_Marceau on X, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube, Richie Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube, and Average Grunt at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. More information on how to become a WrestleRant All Access Pass channel member, including shout-outs at the beginning and end of every single live stream that we do here on the channel, top billing for #AskGSM, WrestleRant Radio, early and ad-free access to certain videos here on the channel, and much more. More information on that down below in the description box. If you want to send in a question to this very show, you could do so by tweeting me onto the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the #AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.gsm.Matthews. Include your question on the post that I usually put up on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but not least, include your question in the comment section down below on this very video, of course, after we're done being live. And I'll include your question in next week's edition. If you are watching live, first of all, thank you, like I said before. Second of all, I will get to your questions in a little bit, so be sure to drop them in the live chat. That is always appreciated as well. If you want to support the channel, all by simply just liking the video, that would also be appreciated. So be sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on notifications for every single time we upload new content here on the channel, and go live, typically Tuesdays and Thursdays for #AskGSM on Tuesdays and WrestleRant Radio, respectively, on Thursdays. Not sure what time we're going live yet for WrestleRant Radio on Thursday. I will give my quick thoughts on Double or Nothing that day. I'll probably end up getting to it here today based on the questions that are sent in and whatnot. I'll probably talk a little bit about Double or Nothing, a little bit about Raw, Saturday night's main event, which kind of felt like it happened an eternity ago at this point, but I thought Saturday night's main event on Saturday actually was a pretty good show. Double or Nothing was a great show. Did I watch Saturday night's main event live? I did not. I was out that day. I caught up on it Sunday morning. I got back Saturday, was fucking exhausted, so I caught up on it Sunday. I watched the pre-show and the first hour and a half of Double or Nothing live. Did not finish it literally until this morning. I watched more yesterday, was still busy with other work stuff and whatnot. Caught up on it completely today, all while also watching Raw. So I'm completely caught up on pretty much everything as far as that goes. A lot of reviews I still got to get to, so for those of you that read that sort of stuff, first of all, thank you. Second of all, as I've been saying since before WrestleMania, everything will be up eventually. I'm just so fucking far behind. It's been a very hectic past month plus. Just bear with me. Including my Hogan review. I still have yet to finish and review the Hogan documentary on Netflix. I know it's been about a month now. I apologize for that, but I will also give my full thoughts on that when I finish it at some point, hopefully in the near future. So again, bear with me on that. I appreciate the patience. That's about it. So we will get going here with the questions and comments and all that other great stuff. Let me pull up the chat here. Let me go back to the beginning. To kick us off with Johnny. He said, King of the Ring, Braun Breaker, or Randy Orton. All right, some good picks there. He also said for Queen of the Ring, either Roxanne Perez, JC Jane, or Blake Monroe. You know, most of those people that you mentioned, so I already wrote an article about this actually, about who should win King and Queen of the Ring this year. And it's up on Bleacher Report right now. Went up yesterday. We'll be going into more depth about it here on the show today. Because I was asked about it for the show. But I also did write an article about it, and a lot of those names that you mentioned I'll get to later, but I also already mentioned in the article I put up yesterday. Johnny said, my ranking of Darby Allin's title matches: Ciampa, MJF, Konosuke Takeshita, Pac, Brody King, Knight, Sammy, Speedball. That's a pretty good ranking. First of all, the fact that he had that many championship defenses is just insane because they were all great matches in the span of 1 month, no less. I mean, that is 8 championship defenses in the span of 1 month. If I had to rank them quickly off the top of my head, I would probably also put Ciampa first. That first one that he had against Ciampa on Dynamite a week after he won the belt was fantastic. I would go Ciampa. I would not put MJF second. I thought their match on Sunday was great. I actually enjoyed some of the other matches more. I would probably put Takeshita second. That might be a hot take, but Takeshita I would put second. I might even put Knight. I mean, the Pac match was also a lot of fun because that was when they were in that golf arena. I might even put the Pac match over the MJF match. The MJF match was really, really good, but I think I enjoyed MJF's other championship defenses on pay-per-view a bit more against Adam Page and Kenny Omega. I think I like those matches more. So I would probably go Ciampa, Takeshita, Pac, MJF, Knight, Brody King, the Sammy match was kind of like a fucking spot fest. The Speedball match was definitely the most basic of all the matches he had, so I would put that last, although in and of itself was still a good match. So I would probably go from best to worst, and that's not to say the Speedball match was terrible. It was great, but still. Ciampa, Takeshita, Pac, maybe even Knight before MJF. I might even go Knight before MJF, but I'll go MJF just because it was a pay-per-view match. They did a lot of crazy shit in the match. Okay, whatever. And they also have great chemistry. Ciampa, Takeshita, Pac. I had more fun with that match, honestly. MJF, Knight, Brody, Sammy, Speedball is how I would rank his championship defenses. Jordan B., what's going on, brother? He said, can't stay, but just wanted to say, if the Knicks do win the NBA championship, then New York needs to give Danhausen the key to the city. I completely agree. Daniel can speak more to that than I can. Mr. Knicks fan himself. I know we've been speaking about it over text in the last couple of weeks. Hard and choked in the finals, or the whatever the fuck they're in right now. No shock there, but yeah, the Knicks are rolling. I think they swept the Cavs. I'm pretty sure they swept the Cavs, all due to the Danhausen curse being lifted off of the Knicks. And like you said, if they win the whole thing, and when I asked Mr. Marceau about it last week in WrestleRant Radio, he did not sound all that confident when I asked him if the Knicks had a chance of winning the whole thing. I think he said Thunder, I think was his pick, but we can ask him again on Thursday, coming off their 4 straight wins over the Cavs this past week. Fernando, what's going on, brother? Nathaniel, thanks for joining. He said, hi, do you think this was the greatest Double or Nothing pay-per-view of all time? You know, I've seen people say that. That was not my first thought watching that show. And I'm not saying it was a great show. Was it the best of all time? It honestly is kind of hard to top the first one. I mean, top to bottom, this card was better. But that first card also had first of all, a lot of great matches. But second of all, it was also the first. Like, it wasn't the second coming of Jesus. I even said that at the fucking time on it being there. It was a great show. I mean, just quickly off the top of my head, it was obviously better than 2020, which was during COVID. 2021 was a very good show, from what I can recall. This was better than that. 2022 was a mixed bag. I remember watching that, not loving the show. I thought it was kind of like hit or miss. Wasn't a big fan of that show. This was better than that. 2023, don't really remember all that much about Double or Nothing that year. This was probably better than that show. 2024, 2025. I'd have to go back and look. It would be up there with the original and then the last two. I don't know what happened to the last two. I don't really remember all that well. I know Swerve faced Christian for the world title 2 years ago. That wasn't the main event. The Anarchy in the Arena shit, honestly, has never really been my cup of tea. I think that was what headlined that show that year, was Anarchy in the Arena. I mean, I know I'm in the minority on that. I did like the first 2 Stadium Stampedes. They're basically the same thing. I like the first 2 Stadium Stampedes. Anarchy in the Arena from 2022 onward has always been kind of garbage to me, literally and figuratively. I thought the match they did this year was fine. Had a lot of goofy shit, but, you know, whatever. You kind of know what you were expecting out of that. Way too fucking many people involved. It kind of felt like the get everyone on the card type of match on the show, but whatever. The crowd had fun with it. I thought the crowd sounded great for Double or Nothing this weekend. So the crowd was really, really good. Very good main event, some really good matches in the middle. Takeshita and Okada was amazing. I'm still not confident in calling it the best Double or Nothing ever. I think that first one, even if only for Cody and Dustin, to be honest, and then Omega and Jericho was a really good match. Not as good as their first match in Japan, but it was still a really good main event. You also had the Bucks and the Lucha Bros on that show. Now, granted, you also had like a throwaway women's match. A fucking Battle Royal, I think. What else did they do on that show? The Dark Order showing up. I think they did Sammy Guevara versus Kip Sabian, I think, on the pre-show. Some other random stuff. I don't know. It's kind of, and also John Moxley's debut that capped off the show. So I still say All Out 2021 is the best overall AEW pay-per-view they've ever done. I wouldn't say this is like top tier. I feel like people say that about every fucking pay-per-view AEW does, and it's a good problem to have because they're great shows. But not every pay-per-view they have is one of their greatest of all time. Because I feel like there's been so many great ones that people forget about the last great one, which was like fucking Dynasty or Revolution or whatever. You know what I mean? So it was an excellent show, though. Johnny said, Knight had the second best heel turn to end a pay-per-view / PLE. What would be the first? I'm not saying that would even be number one. I mean, I'm sure there's been many more heel turns that were better than fucking Kevin Knight's. But I did think Kevin Knight's heel turn to close the show was shocking, and I thought it was well done the way they executed that. I really did not think they were going to turn him heel so soon. I know they had been planting the seeds like as of last week's Dynamite, but he was getting over as a babyface. So maybe they just need heels on the show. I don't know, but I guess they do. But I thought it was well done. Nathaniel said, I'm happy Copeland got to win the tag team titles with Christian in his final run. I was emotional while watching that match at Double or Nothing. Yeah, I thought it was a good match. I'm glad they won. Pretty predictable that they would win, but it was the right outcome. And I'm glad they get a run. I don't know how long this run will last. I would say at least until All In. They should at least hold the championships until then for the next 3 months. And they can defend against the Bucks, either 2-on-2 or in a 3-way with FTR. You could throw the fucking New Day in there if you want. Motor City Machine Guns. You can just go balls to the wall with those teams. What was my match of the night on Sunday? Easily Okada Takeshita. I don't know if anyone would disagree, to be honest. I did think the show was great, but I think the best match in the show by far was easily Okada and Takeshita. Fernando said, if Sol Ruka does not win the IC Championship, I pick her to win Queen of the Ring and Oba Femi for King of the Ring. I was more confident with Oba when he wasn't feuding with Brock. I would find it very hard to believe that they would bring back Brock to lose again to Oba. If that's the outcome on Saturday or Sunday, next Sunday rather, that's another thing we'll talk about on WrestleRant Radio this week. Predictions for Clash in Italy. There's so many fucking shows going on. But I would find it hard to believe they would bring back Brock for that show, have him lose, and then Oba Femi win King of the Ring. I had Oba Femi winning King of the Ring dating back to Mania when he beat Brock. But then they brought back Brock, and now I'm not really sure what to think. I think having him lose to Brock and then win King of the Ring would make no sense. Because like you would think, okay, he kind of has to get that third match with Brock and beat him. And also, why would you have Oba win King of the Ring after just losing to Brock? It would be weird. So I don't honestly at this point see Oba Femi winning King of the Ring. I hate to say it. He is obviously a very strong contender. But based on what we've seen in recent weeks, I'm a lot less confident in that pick. Sol Ruka, if she doesn't win the Women's IC Championship, first of all, she really hasn't won a lot of matches. So I guess she would have to win a lot of matches to win King of the Ring, or Queen of the Ring, rather. I would not do that. I would be happy to see her win. I don't see that happening. I would rather see someone like a Roxanne. I think JC Jane would make more sense, even though she's also new. Sol Ruka being just slingshotted to the world title picture, I know that sounds like I wouldn't be high on that idea for JC Jane, but so far they have booked her more like a star than they have Sol Ruka. And Sol Ruka's a star, don't get me wrong, but she lost to Liv Morgan. She lost to Io Sky. She only beat Becky by DQ on Saturday. She really hasn't won anything of importance at all. And then for her to lose this quick feud to Becky and then win Queen of the Ring wouldn't really make sense. I think the feud will extend beyond that show. So I don't think either of them, honestly, are winning their respective tournaments. But Sol Ruka being in it, I have no issue with that at all. Fernando said, does Sol Ruka need to change her finisher? It's one of my favorite finishers, but it's really rough seeing her botch it lately. Someone asked a question about that. I'll get to it later. It's a good question, though. Fernando said, I'm very happy Darby's ridiculous joke of a title reign is over. Fernando, listen, you may not be a Darby fan. I know there's a lot of people, and we've talked to these people here before in these chats and these videos and whatnot, that are not Darby fans. You cannot call that a joke of a... Clearly, you don't watch the show. If you're calling that a joke of... you have to admit, even if you're not a Darby fan, he went in there and had one of the best fucking runs with that championship, even though it ended within a month. It was exactly what it needed to be. I thought, honestly, he would just win the championship and then lose it right back to MJF at Double or Nothing. They didn't do that. They maximized his time with that title by having awesome match after awesome match, sometimes twice in the same week, for over a month before losing it in the main event of a pay-per-view, after winning it in his hometown. I thought literally everything about that run was perfect. So, yeah, I don't know how you can call it. I mean, if you think Darby being a champion is a joke, I can understand that. But unless you just don't watch the show, I don't really think there's any way of calling that run a joke when he defended it 7 times in exceptionally great matches weekly. Fernando also said, with all the new information we got about the Kaiser arrest, do you see the situation any different? A little bit. I mean, there's been some more information that's come out. I'm a little, like, when we first heard about it on WrestleRant Radio last week, I had just learned about it literally right before we went live. The news had broke Wednesday. I saw it Thursday morning. I wasn't calling for Kaiser's head, like arrest the guy. I was just kind of more so shocked. Obviously, my point still stands. You can't just go around fucking beating people up. Assuming that's what happened. We don't know exactly. That's the claim. Could he have gotten the fight from someone else or whatever and then blamed it on Kaiser? That's possible. It doesn't really sound like that's the case. I feel like if that was the case, we would have heard about it by now, or he would have at least denied it. He hasn't publicly denied anything, but it's weird because he's still doing shit in Mexico. Like, he's able to travel right now. I don't think if it was that serious of a charge, they would have allowed him to travel. Clearly not. And the match for Saturday is still on with Chad Gable. And I'm glad it did not go any worse than it did. Obviously, again, and do I agree with like this guy saying, oh yeah, mind your manners with, mind your manners after these two were apparently aggressively kissing in the elevator? The guy sounds like he just sounds like one of those like, oh yeah, like back in my day, like one of those type of people. Should Kaiser have been doing that? No. Should the guy have said it? Did he need to say something? No. Do I blame him necessarily? Not really. Kaiser probably shouldn't have been doing that. Should he have fucking hit the guy? No, obviously not. So I think everyone's kind of at fault here, probably Kaiser more than anyone. He shouldn't have done that. But it's not like an arrest worthy of, again, arresting him. Maybe just a fine once they further flesh out the details. Is it worth firing him over? No, it's not like it was a domestic abuse situation or anything like that. So I do see it a little bit differently, more in the favor of Kaiser, but we still don't have the full details yet. And my other thought process is, and I can't sit here and say that, oh yeah, just because they let him off easy means he must be innocent. I mean, the same thing happened with the Rajah Jackson incident. He kind of get let off easy. Oh, if it was more serious, then why isn't he behind bars? That's because our fucking justice system is a joke. You want to talk about something being a joke. That's a fucking joke. So I'm not going to sit here and say that necessarily. Kaiser he did something dumb. Do I think he should be arrested? No. Do I think he should be punished? No. I still think he will probably win on Saturday. They were very heavily hyping it on Monday's Raw. So clearly WWE is not all that concerned about the situation. Fernando said, great Mick Foley's Double or Nothing debut. I honestly thought he was great. I thought he was really good on the pre-show with Renee Paquette, kind of doing their thing in the ring as like the pre-show panel team, whatever. I don't know if they'll always be in the ring or if they just did that so he could be confronted by MJF before the pre-show ended. I thought that was effective. I would rather watch Foley and Renee preview the show over fucking Big Show or Matt Menard or the other guy, RJ City. Who I know is, he obviously is he's entertaining. He does a great job at his job. Foley is just better. I mean, he's a bigger name. I'd rather hear him talk about these matches. And I thought the segment with MJF and Darby was really, really well done. Honestly, if Mick Foley was free sooner than Saturday or Sunday, they should have done that segment on Dynamite. But I would imagine he wasn't free until then, or they didn't want to bring him out until Double or Nothing or whatever. But I thought his debut was great. It's not like he came back out of the end and attacked MJF or some shit. I thought what they did with Foley was really well done. Do I have any interest in seeing him wrestle? Absolutely fucking not. But we'll get to that in a second because you asked about it. But still, I thought Foley being in AEW, I'm a big fan of. I think he's a great fit for them. He obviously has his issues with WWE's politics right now. Can't say I blame him for that. And yeah, we'll see what else he does going forward. I think he's a great pep talker. We saw that a lot with him in WWE over the years. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But I thought what we saw on Sunday worked. He still has it in him to do that sort of stuff. Fernando said, I think Double or Nothing is the best pay-per-view of 2026 and top 5 ever in AEW. This goes back to what I said. I mean, top 5 ever. At this point, AEW has had so many pay-per-views, it's hard to say. I'm not comfortable sitting here saying that's the case because, again, there's been so many great fucking shows. I did think the show was great. Do I think it was a top 5 ever? I don't know. I mean, that wasn't my first thought. So honestly, no, it probably wasn't. Was it the best pay-per-view of the year? Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I mean, there really isn't that high of a bar, to be honest. I mean, it was obviously better than WrestleMania. Backlash I enjoyed. The Backlash was a good show. This was better than Backlash. It had way more matches, better crowd, higher stakes. Way better than Elimination Chamber or Royal Rumble. And then as far as AEW's pay-per-views are concerned, they've only had Dynasty and Revolution. Both of those shows were great too. I thought they were 2 excellent shows. This also was better than those shows. So, yeah, top 5 ever. Again, we would be here all day if we were ranking the fucking shows. But best pay-per-view of the year so far, without a doubt. I would agree with that. Johnny said top 10 for sure. AEW has so many classic shows. Yeah, I mean, that goes to my point. It's kind of hard to say. Top 10, I would probably agree with that. Top 5, I mean, come on, man. How can anyone honestly say that without thinking back on every show that this company has done in the last 7 years? Yeah, I mean, it was probably better. It was definitely better than anything during COVID. I would agree with that. Or any of the early shows. I mean, Revolution was just awesome. That first Revolution show was excellent. Double or Nothing, the first Double or Nothing was also really, really good. I still say All Out 2021 was their best show ever. Just the buzz around the company around that time was unreal. Revolution 2022 was great. The rest of the 2022 pay-per-views were not as great. 2023, the only pay-per-view that really stands out from that year as being like excellent was Wrestle Dream, from what I can recall. None of the World's End shows have been overly great. I was at Full Gear this past year. I thought it was a really good show. Didn't think it was like better than Double or Nothing, but it was really good. Yeah, I'd have to think back on the other All In 2024 and 2025 were both excellent shows. Those to me are among AEW's best pay-per-views. It's just kind of hard to say. But was Double or Nothing the top 10 of all time for that company? You're probably right. Top 5, I'm not as confident in saying that without looking it up. Fernando said, of course, according to SRS and Fightful, there is a potential MJF versus Mick Foley match being discussed. Allegedly, MJF has always wanted to work with Mick Foley. It would be a dream come true for him. I'm sure it would be. I think the idea, Foley even said this, I'm sure, at the time, that he was working towards one more match for his retirement before he turned 60. I think he turned 60 in like a fucking month, I think. And then he got hurt during the training. He suffered a pretty bad concussion, and it's not like he broke a fucking fingernail. Like, he suffered a series of concussions. And honestly, I don't know if it's like a family thing, because I know his daughter, Noelle, was also training to be a wrestler. That was documented on Holy Foley almost a decade ago. And I don't know if she, I mean, first of all, as like a character, she wasn't really that good. She couldn't really speak. But in the ring anyway, she was training and got hurt. And she has since had other concussion issues. So I don't know if that's like a family thing or if it's just a freak thing. They both had concussion issues. But anyway, that's not really something to play with. Could Foley eventually wrestle for them? I think it's very possible that they would clear him to do something like a tag team match or a stadium stampede or anarchy in the arena. I would not be shocked, knowing Tony Khan's, where he draws the line, and Foley just being desperate to do it one more time. At fucking 60, I mean, he's not Sting. Like, when Sting got in there and wrestled 5-6 years ago, it was a little different because he was also that old, but at the same time, he was just not as injury prone as Foley is, clearly. I mean, Sting, I don't think ever got hurt, and Sting was doing some pretty crazy shit. He also played it a little bit safer than I think Foley would. But is it possible to see Foley and MJF? Yes. Do I want to see that match? I really don't. Not in 2026. Do I think it could happen? Yes. Fernando said, Cope and Christian had their best match in AEW as a tag team. Yeah, I mean, it's not really up for debate. I mean, they've only had how many matches? 5? I mean, they teamed up first at All Out. I think they teamed up at Forbidden Door last year against the Patriarchy. I mean, that was kind of a forgettable match. The All Out match I thought was great. I thought the rematch with FTR at Dynasty was great. I don't really love I Quit matches. This was probably the best of the 3. I think I preferred their first match, or maybe even their second match over what we got at Double or Nothing. But what we got was a really good opener. I thought it was a really good match with the correct outcome. Beth coming back, giving Stokely his comeuppance, I thought was well done. They've had a lot of good matches so far. So, I mean, if you were to say this was their best or that was their best, you wouldn't really be wrong. Fernando also said Disney is doing to Star Wars what TKO has been doing to WWE. I think there's an argument to be made there, honestly. I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of differences in semantics there, but I agree with your overall point. If you mean like the commercialization and kind of the general idea of causing that franchise or brand to lose their soul a little bit and being encompassed by this bigger company, I would agree with that. I mean, that's been the case with Disney/Star Wars for a long time, really since they fucking bought it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Disney's the devil and all this other sort of stuff. I mean, they've also done a lot of great stuff with Star Wars in the last 15 years, but there's also been a lot of shit. And there's also been a lot of stuff that wasn't as good. And literally, the day they bought Star Wars, they announced they were doing 7, 8, 9. I mean, that tells you right away that they were just in, why wouldn't they be their business? They were in the money-making business. And those movies made a lot of fucking money. But clearly the criticism got to them because if they made so much money and they didn't care about the criticism, they would have continued making movies. And it wasn't just COVID and the writer's strike that caused them to not make as many movies. They had not made, before Mandalorian and Grogu, they had not made a movie, a theatrical release for Star Wars since episode 9, 7 fucking years ago. So clearly the criticism and the backlash from fans, casuals alike, got to them back at that point. But again, it's not as if, I don't want to sit here and say, and same thing with WWE TKO, that everything they've done with these franchises has been bad. I'm not sure if anyone's actually saying that. I mean, I'm sure some people believe that. But like there is a lot of stuff that TKO has helped WWE with and making a lot of money, getting them on ESPN and, you know, getting them a lot of, like on NBC for Saturday Night's Main Event for a while, which was cool while it lasted, I guess. Among other things. And they were really hot there under TKO a few years ago before they kind of lost the soul of the company and all this corporate bullshit, you know. And it's not as if Star Wars was perfect even before the buyout from Disney. And they've also done a lot of good stuff too, like with WWE and TKO. Andor was an excellent movie. Solo was okay. I wasn't really a big Solo fan, but like Rogue One was excellent. Andor's the show. Rogue One, excellent movie. Andor, excellent show. Some of the best stuff that they've done under Disney since Star Wars joined them 15 years ago. A lot of the shows are hit or miss, and even like the movie Mandalorian and Grogu, which I reviewed in the short here for the channel the other day, was kind of, you could kind of tell it was a cash grab. I mean, it was a good movie. I liked it. Was it great? No, not really. I mean, it was certainly not great. Theatrically, did not need to be a theatrical release. It was fine. It was a great experience. Was the movie great? No, it was not. It was just kind of there. But again, these are the same people that made that movie, also made the first, second seasons of that show. The third season was good, but the first two were just awesome. I mean, the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian felt like a big deal. Everyone was talking about it. It was like the best thing to happen to Star Wars in fucking ages. Maybe since the first Clone Wars animated show 20 years ago. I know they had Rogue One, but like, I don't know, like show-wise, that show was great. So anyway, Johnny said, Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel, they end conversations with, may the greed be with you. Fernando said, Braun returns, Logan gets injured, the blurred vision curse continues. Yeah, the vision, you cannot convince me, and I said this on Twitter this morning, you cannot convince me that they are not the most cursed stable in WWE history. I didn't want to say wrestling history because you could immediately say the Von Erichs, obviously. The cursed family, the most cursed family in wrestling for sure. Wrestling stable, even kayfabe-wise, it's got to be the Vision. I mean, between booking shit, but primarily injuries, that is the 4th fucking injury that has happened to that group since they formed. Rollins, Breakker, Reed, and now Logan. Austin Theory might be next. He has to be, if not Paul Heyman. Just crazy. Johnny said, Mark Shapiro till Triple H Hunter, I am your father. Who should win the TBS championship, Fernando asked. I will answer that later. Someone else also asked a question about that. Fernando said, have you heard the rumors that WWE are targeting to bring back FTR when their contract expires in a few months? That was another question I got. So yes, I saw that this morning. I wasn't on social media at all yesterday because I had not yet finished Double or Nothing. Didn't want to spoil the show for myself. So I was off Twitter literally pretty much all day. I was off of everything, really. And I only caught up with shit this morning. I did see that, though. Johnny said, Camille should win the TBS title, rehabilitate her career. That would be nice, but they brought her back. They dusted her off for the first time in a year and a half to lose to Willow about a month ago. We haven't seen her since, so I don't think anyone would honestly give a shit about Camille winning the TBS championship. I like Camille. Camille's really good. They've done fuck all with her, so I don't see that happening. Fernando said Queen Aminata. I think she's a great pick. Camille and Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne's not going for the TBS championship if she's the tag team champion. I know Willow was doing both. She was tag team champion and the TBS champion for a while, but I don't think that was a good idea. It kind of came at the expense of the TBS championship for a bit, so I would not do that. But anyway, with Queen Aminata, I think that's a really good pick. Daniel, what's going on, brother? Said, hi, WrestleRant, hi, chat. Orange and Blue Skies. Knicks in the finals. There you go. Your resident Knicks fan here on WrestleRant and hashtag AskGSM is one Daniel Malcolm. Gets hard and choked as we all expected he would. Johnny said, who is the best tag team wrestler of all time? Adam Copeland or Kofi Kingston? I mean, are either of them the greatest tag team wrestler of all time? No, they're not. I would not say either of them. I mean, there are a million people I would think of that are better tag team wrestlers than either of them. Of the two of them, who is better? That's honestly difficult because Kofi was with the New Day for so long, but he also had success with R-Truth, Evan Bourne, CM Punk. He had a lot of tag team title reigns, specifically with the New Day. And the New Day was more of a stable than a team. They are a team, and they were a team, but I might still go Adam Copeland. I mean, Edge and Christian, I think all time will still go down as a greater team than the New Day. So for that reason alone, in addition to the fact he also had teams with Jericho, very briefly in WWE back in 2009, but that great short-lived team with Rey Mysterio in 2002 was also amazing. He was tag team champions with fucking Hulk Hogan, which was crazy. Randy Orton, obviously, for a time. I'd probably go Edge, although I could see the case being made for Kingston, too. I think Soul should beat Becky this weekend. I'd be fine if she did. I don't think she will. I think they should keep the feud going. If she wins the belt, I'm fine with it. I mean, I think Soul's great. I'd be fine with that. Fernando said, rank all of the recent Saturday Night's main events that we've had since its return. Off the top of my head, the best one was easily the John Cena last match one. Without a doubt. That was the best installment they've done yet. That was a great show. That was a really, really great show. That was the best one they did. I would then definitely say the first one they brought back, I was there at that one, so I'm biased. But the second one they did back in December of 2024, it just had that old school vibe to it, like with the theme song and the setup, and Jesse Ventura was there. They stopped using him a while ago, I guess. I think he may have been to the John Cena one. I don't know if he was the one in January. I don't even remember what they did at the one in January. I know Sami Zayn became number one contender to the WWE title on that show. Oh, also AJ Nakamura. Yeah, I think Saturday Night's main event, that one was good. The worst one they did was the one last July. That was a fucking, like, Rollins got hurt. Gunther and Goldberg was fine, but it kind of felt like the end of the show felt rushed. That was easily the worst. That was just a complete waste of time of a show. The one last May, I would probably put second to last. I know that had Zelina Vega and Chelsea Green. No one gave a shit. Jey Uso, Logan Paul, whatever. I think that had Braun and Rollins, where Bronson Reed came back and joined the Vision against Punk and Sammy. I thought that was a good match. That was probably the second weakest Saturday Night's main event they've done. I would, for the third worst, the one in January this year was really good. The one in January last year was really good. It had Gunther and Jay in the main event. Sheamus and Braun for the IC Championship. I think Fatu and Strowman. I forgot what they did with the women's match. I would probably put that third to last. Fourth to last, I would say the one from this past January. Fifth to last, I would say the one this past weekend. Second best was the first one back from December 2024. And the best one, I think, was the John Cena last match. So from best to worst, I would say John Cena's last match. The first one they brought back in December of 2024. Third, I would go this past weekend. I thought this past weekend show was actually really good. I'm not going to lie. I actually thought it was a really good show. Fourth best, I would say, was last I'm also forgetting the one from November. They had one back in November. I don't remember that being an overly great show. But I'll include that in a second. But for fourth best, I would say last January show. Or rather, this past January show, then last January show. I would then do the one from last May, the one from last November, which had Punk and Jay, which was a fucking awful match. And then I would say dead last, the worst one they've done so far was last summer. I just remember that going up against All In, which was an excellent show. That might be one of their best shows of all time. And Saturday night's main event just being just a complete waste of time. So yeah, that is what I would say. That is how I would rank them. I think the Knicks will win in the finals. Hey, Nathaniel's a believer. He also said, my Yankees are on a winning streak. Fernando said, how must Obafemi be handled at Clash? He must fucking win, but I don't think he's going to. Spoiler alert for my prediction, but I think he's going to lose. Eric, what's going on, my man? He said, I have Drew and Roxanne winning King and Queen of the Ring. Io wins the Rumble next year. I could see Io winning the Rumble. I think she'll be back in the women's world title picture before then, because otherwise, what the fuck else do you do with her? I think she'll be in the tournament for sure. How could she not be? For the tournaments, Roxanne's a good one. The issue with Drew, I was also thinking of Drew. King Drew would make sense. The problem with Drew winning is, the fuck would you do with him now? Like, he's not facing Cody again, nor should he. That would be terrible. Cody's currently the champ. If Gunther wins the belt at Clash, which would be great, I don't think he's going to, but I think he should. Do you do Drew and Gunther? Is Drew the babyface? I don't think they do that. In fucking Minnesota? Like, I don't think we're getting. We also already got that match at SummerSlam 3 years ago. If they're both heels, it just wouldn't make sense. So I don't think Drew wins the challenge for those titles. Could he go to Raw and face Roman? That would be interesting, but I feel like, I don't know. That's possible. If Fatu wins the belt, maybe, but I still feel like Obafemi should be challenged for that championship at SummerSlam. I don't think he's going to, but Drew would only work if he goes to Raw to face Roman. Otherwise, like, he's not facing Fatu again. I wouldn't do that anyway. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on that. Fernando said, Billy Gunn should be in the discussion as one of the best tag team wrestlers ever. I mean, again, there's a million people you can include in that conversation. Billy Gunn, he was with the Guns, obviously, the fucking, him and Bart Gunn, whatever, but also the New Age Outlaws. But you could say Xavier Woods, you could say Big E, you could say the Usos, Jay and Jimmy, you could say Bret Hart. I mean, for as many great tag teams, there's just as many great tag team wrestlers. Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, Christian Cage, Matt and Jeff. I mean, Billy Gunn would not be in my fucking top 10. Would I put Billy Gunn over Matt or Jeff or Edge and Christian or even Bubba and Devon or the Usos? No, absolutely not. So, like, what does that question even mean? That's why I don't really like that question, because, like, what are you defining as best tag team wrestler? I would put Bret Hart probably above any of them. Fernando said, Grogu should have sacrificed his life in Mando. No, he should not have. They were not fucking killing Grogu, Fernando, in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Nor do I think they should have. Now, should they have something at some point to explain where he is by 7, 8, and 9? Why would he not have helped? Where the fuck is he? What happened to him? Yeah, I think there should be something explaining that. Will we ever get that? I don't know. Do I think he should have fucking died in that movie? Absolutely not. That would have been ridiculous. People would have been so pissed. That's not what that movie was, and I don't really think that's what it needed to be. If anything, Mando should have sacrificed himself. But again, they make money off of these characters. They're not going to do that. Nor was I expecting it, nor was I really wanting to see that anyway. Nathaniel said, I saw the Star Wars Grogu movie. I thought it was good. I wonder if they'll make another one. It depends on the money. If it makes good money, then they will. I don't know what it made this weekend, but they probably will. I watched that movie and I'm thinking they're just going to keep making more of these. If it doesn't make sense narratively, I wouldn't do it, but that's not how Disney works. So it is what it is. Or any good business, really. If it makes money, then why wouldn't they make more? Daniel at the brooms in the chat, sweeping the Cavs. He said 11 straight playoff wins. Holy shit. Back-to-back sweeps. Stop playing with us. Hey, Daniel stands on business with his Knicks. Nathaniel said, who would Roman defend the title against at SummerSlam if he's still champion? I still say Oba, but I don't really think that's going to happen. So if it's not Oba, I'm hoping Fatu takes the belt. If it's not either of them, they could run back him and Punk. Would Gunther go back to Raw and face Roman? That'd be kind of stupid. Braun Breaker. That's another one, too. I think Roman will be champion going into SummerSlam. I don't think it's Fatu. Could Fatu win the belt and then lose it back to Roman? Yeah, and I'd be fine with that, honestly. I think Roman faces Punk again, or more likely Braun Breaker, or Obafemi's still an option, although I'm just kind of convinced he's going to be busy with Brock going into SummerSlam. Knew what's going on, my man. He said, good morning, Graham. How was your Memorial Day weekend? Very busy, very exhausting. Not the best, but it was fun. Nathaniel said, how would you want Paige to win Queen of the Ring if she's not tag team, or would you want Paige to win Queen of the Ring if she's not tag team champion? Not really. What would be the option there? Her facing Liv? That's not really, to me, a SummerSlam worthy match. I like Paige. I'm glad she's back. I think there's ways to utilize her. Should she be the women's world champion or even challenging for that belt on a stage such as SummerSlam? I don't think so, no. It wouldn't even, would she even win the tournament while she's still tag team champion? The tournament starts next week, so I guess they can get the belt off of her and Brie quickly and then have her win. I don't see that happening. And then if she goes to SmackDown, her and Rhea is a bit more appealing, but they put her on Raw. I mean, I don't even know if she's officially on Raw. I'm not even really sure, so I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't hate that, but I don't see that happening. It's also not the best option they can go with. New, what's going on, my man? He said, what are your thoughts on Asuka now being a part-timer? How will her part-time role affect the WWE Women's Division, and will Io Sky embrace her spot that Asuka is giving her? What are my thoughts on her being a part-timer? Good for her. She's earned it. I mean, Asuka is one of the best of all time. I mean, she's done everything there is to do. How will it affect the division? It will not affect the division at all. Obviously, it's a blow to not have Asuka there all the time. But, dude, they have so many fucking women, a lot of which they're not even doing much with. They'll be fine on both Raw and SmackDown. And honestly, Asuka wasn't really around all that much anyway in the last few years. I remember she was off for like a fucking year. She got hurt in 2024. She was gone for over a year, did not come back until last summer. So she was around since then, but she was gone for over a year until she lost the Queen of the Ring finals last summer. And then she was around in 2023. She was gone for like a month in late 2022. I remember that. But she was also gone for like 6 to 8 months between 2021 and 2022. She's been gone on and off for quite some time now. So it's really not that big of a deal. And I think she'll be fine. Hopefully she'll be back. And Io kind of taking over. I mean, how would Io really... Asuka, I always kind of saw in the last few years as like the stepping stone of the division, the elder stateswoman, so to speak. No offense. I mean, she is like not that much older. She's not fucking 50, but... You know, she was older than a lot of the women they have, and she was kind of like the stepping stone who had credibility, and she could put other people over and stuff like that. Io, I mean, it's not like, yeah, Io is, I guess, their resident Asian women's wrestler, if you want to say that, but like, Io's not going in there just to put other people over or, just to give other people credibility boosts. Io is the here and now. She's what Asuka was a decade ago, not what Asuka was right before she kind of walked away. Johnny said, Ciampa is the only other heel turn to end a pay-per-view or PLE. I find that extremely hard to believe, Johnny. I don't think there is... You're telling me there is no other heel turn that has ever ended a pay-per-view? I mean, fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin had one of the biggest heel turns of all... I'm not even saying... Or John Cena! What are you talking about? John Cena has the best heel turn... I mean, Hulk Hogan? I mean, Johnny, what are we talking about? Nathaniel said there is a new... You're comparing John Cena to Kevin Knight? I'm sure you're kidding, but Jesus Christ. Nathaniel said there's a new Mario movie coming out in 2029. I hope Donkey Kong is in that one. Is that true? Was that announced? Let me look that up real quick. I have not seen that. Bad Bunny has been cast as Pizza with sunglasses in Toy Story 5. What the fuck? I'm just looking at my timeline real quick. I don't know where you saw that. Let me see. Not Toy Story. Let's see. Mario movie 3. Oh, is that the rumor? I'm seeing there's like a YouTube video about it. I don't know if that's been confirmed. Oh, no. Super Mario Movie 3's release window confirmed by Returning Star. What does that mean? I'm on ScreenRant.com. Returning Star. Let me see. Keegan-Michael Key? Trying to fucking, let's see. It'll be worth the wait. 2029 is better than sometime. Yeah, Keegan-Michael Key had said. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. The first one came out in 2023. This one came out in 2026. The next one coming out in 2029 would make sense. I just hope they do something more. I mean, I like the most recent one. I enjoyed that movie. I feel like it could have been more significant. It was kind of like Mandalorian and Grogu. I thought it was better than that, but we need more, like, higher stakes. We need a bit more significance than what we've gotten in those two movies this year, in my opinion. Anyway, he said, I like Copeland and Christian versus Kip and Luchasaurus at Forbidden Door. Yeah, it was a good match. It was fine. The weakest of all the matches they've had so far being back on pay-per-view, but it was fine. What are your thoughts on the boys finale and season as a whole? I might be in the minority because I saw a lot of hate for it, and for the season, I can understand more. I still don't agree with it. I thought the overall season was great. I'm more of a casual fan in the sense that I like a lot of the shit. Like, I don't really nitpick it and say, oh, it was garbage and all this other shit. Like, Last of Us Season 2. That I can really understand more so the issues with. Or Stranger Things. But I enjoyed both of those things too. Like, when it comes to television, I like a lot of what I watch, otherwise I wouldn't really watch it. You know, I have issues or certain things I'm not overly interested in certain shows, but for the most part, I just kind of watch it to enjoy it and not, like, overly complain about it. But anyway, he also asked, like, did Homelander get what he deserved in your opinion? Yeah, I do. He had to die. He had to die. There was no way that they weren't going to do what they did. That would have been ridiculous to do anything else. And the way they did it was satisfying. Yeah, I like the finale. I thought it was great. I understand there's certain things they didn't do perfectly or things they could have done better. I agree with that. I like the overall season. I liked how they kind of killed people throughout instead of waiting just for the big finale and then everyone dies at once. They killed enough people in the finale, and also they killed enough people in the last season, so it's like, it's not like no one died. Like Stranger Things, no one fucking died for the most part. Not even the fucking bad guy, aside from Vecna. The old bitch didn't die. Anyway, yeah, I really liked it. If you didn't like it, whatever. But, you know, a lot of people didn't, and I was like, whoa, okay, what the fuck? Where the fuck is this coming from? But I liked it for what it was. I thought a lot of it made sense, and I thought it was satisfying. He said, where the fuck is this Jessica and Becky thing going, and who gives a shit? Who gives an F, he said. I mean, people do give an F because anytime Jessica and Becky interact, people actually do care about it, to be fair. And second of all, I don't know where it's going, and I also wish they would hurry the fuck up. Nathaniel said, have you enjoyed Adam Copeland's AEW run? What is your favorite match and moment? Yeah, I've enjoyed the AEW run for Adam Copeland. I mean, the fact that he was gone on and off for the last 2.5 years wasn't ideal. So, like, he got hurt after Double or Nothing 2 years ago. And he was gone until what? Like, World's End? He was gone for like 7 months. And then he was back, and then he came back, and then he got written off by FTR. So then he was gone again until, like, All In. So he was gone for like 4 months, like 3 or 4 months. And then he was gone again from, like, All Out through, he was only back for like a month or two. And then he went off to go film Percy Jackson. And he was gone again until Revolution. He was gone for like 6 months. So I don't really like, I mean, he was complaining about his WWE run. Oh, they would write me in and out. And it's like, well, you're doing the same thing in AEW. What the fuck is the difference? If anything, you're gone for longer. You're gone for longer periods of time. But no, overall, I've liked what they've done. They had him feud with Christian, do a couple other singles things, and then also reunite with Christian. That was really why he came back in the first place, why he came back to wrestling and why he went to AEW. So my favorite match, I mean, my favorite moment, I guess, would have been when he debuted. I thought that was really well done, or when he reunited with Christian. Favorite match, honestly, probably the match that he and Christian had at World's End 2023. The Street Fight or whatever the fuck it was. That was the best part of that show. I was there for that. That was a great match. They also had like an I Quit match, I think, a couple of months later on Dynamite, I want to say, that was also really good. My favorite match would probably be the one that I was there for at World's End back in 2023. Let me backtrack a little bit here. Fernando said, which pay-per-view or PLE are you thinking of going to next? Good question. Slammiversary, actually, because it's coming up in Boston. I was not at Slammiversary last year. I dodged the bullet because it was a good show. I wish I could have been there for AJ Styles' return alone. The rest of the show was good. Some of it wasn't so good. The main event I wasn't a fan of, obviously, and the finish was terrible. I talked about it at the time. But anyway, I want to go The TNA product is good right now. It's not great. It's not awful. It's good. I think it's consistently solid most weeks. I went to my first ever Bound for Glory in the fall, which was a good time with RJ. We had a fun time. I've never been to Slammiversary. I may never go again because I don't know how close they'll get in the future. I almost went to Slammiversary on my birthday back in 2013. I was a senior in high school. I wanted to go. I ended up getting tickets to Raw the next night instead in Connecticut, so it all worked out. But I never ended up going to Slammiversary, and I would not mind going this year. So I'll probably be at Slammiversary. I could have gone to Double or Nothing, but it's just the last month and a half travel-wise and all the shit I got going on would have been fucking terrible. And weather-wise, it ended up being awful. So I'm glad I didn't do that either. Although the show is great. But I would love to go to All In one of these years. I don't think I'll be there this year, but I would love to go to All In one of these years. And that's about it. I'll probably be at SummerSlam. So Slammiversary and then SummerSlam seem to be the next two shows that I will be at. I was at Full Gear. It's not like I don't go to AEW shows. I was at Full Gear back in November, and that was a really good time. I was at Bound for Glory. I try to go to as many shows as I can. I was also at WrestleMania. Let's see. Are you a fan of the Scary Movie franchise? And if you do you have faith in the new one coming out? So I am, and I don't. I saw the trailer. It looks dumb as fuck, and not like in a funny way. I am going to go see it. My brothers and I kind of grew up on those movies. So just out of a nostalgia thing, we're going to go see it. I saw so much praise for that first trailer. And honestly, to me, if you're going to be offensive like those early movies were, you just got to be fucking offensive. None of this like dumb, borderline, offensive, stupid shit like making fun of pronouns and stuff. If you want to be like full on offensive, you got to go all in with that shit, with a movie like that, in my opinion. In 2026, I'm not even saying everyone would find it funny, but you got to piss some people off. This borderline he, him shit, stuff like that. I think they had one of those jokes in the trailer. Not even that it's offensive. It's just more so just stupid. It's not even funny. Like, it would be one thing if it was offensive and funny. It's kind of offensive and it's just stupid. You know what I mean? So that's what that new movie looks like to me. I will go see it. I am morbidly curious. I have seen the first four. The first one is great. My favorite is the third one, I think. I love the third one. I rewatched the first... I think I've rewatched... When did I rewatch? Let me think. I haven't rewatched the first one in a while. But I did rewatch 2 and 3 before Halloween about a year and a half ago, about 2 years ago. The second one was not really funny at all. That one was just dumb as fuck. I think a lot of people like that one. The funny thing is that I think the Wayland brothers, are those their names? They were involved in the first two, not in the next two. But I think the next two were the funniest ones. I think 3 is fucking hilarious. I rewatched 4 a couple months ago, and I had a fun time rewatching that. I never saw the 5th one. I'll have to go back and watch that one. The second one sucked. The first one is great, though, and the third one's great, and I really like the 4th one, too. It's just dumb fun, but that's just me. And I fear the 6th one will just be dumb. Johnny said, my criteria would be the success a wrestler has with different partners. Okay, I mean, Kofi Kingston had 3 other partners, but he barely had... I mean, he teamed with CM Punk for a month. The R-Truth team, no one remembers. And Air Boom was great for only a few months. So would Kofi Kingston really be the greatest tag team wrestler of all time? No. Edge would be a far... If that's your criteria, then Edge is a much bigger tag team, much more successful tag team wrestler than Kofi. Rated RKO, people still talk about. It was brief, but it was a great team. Him and Ray was a fucking great team for as brief as that was. No one will ever talk about Kofi and fucking R-Truth is one of the greatest teams of all time. Him and Punk I liked. It lasted a month. Air Boom I also loved, but that was very brief too. So it's got to be Edge. I would still probably go someone like a Bret Hart for best tag team wrestler. Like, neither of them are the greatest tag team wrestler of all time, if you're talking about different partners. Anyway, if we see Grogu again, should he be older? He should be older, right? I mean, yeah, older doesn't mean... You mean like looks older? Because already he's technically 50 and he's still... Like, he's not... He doesn't look any different, really, than he did in the first season of Mandalorian. So, from the first season of Mandalorian to present day in Star Wars, I don't know how many years it's been. The next time we see Grogu, he'll probably be with Mando, which means that he probably won't be that much older. He'll probably be 55 or 60. Yoda lived to be like 1,000 years old, or like 900 years old. Mando would have to be dead by the next time we see Grogu older, and I don't think that's going to happen. Then for the next time that we see Grogu, I think the next time we see Grogu will probably be with Mando. And at that point, he probably wouldn't be that much older, and they want to sell fucking Baby Yoda toys, so it's probably not going to happen. Fernando said the Knicks doesn't have a chance in hell with the winner of Oklahoma and the Spurs. Yeah, that's what RJ said. So Daniel said, remember you said that. He said he's going to remember that he said that. Fernando said, what do you think of what they're doing with Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea? I don't mind it. I like the idea of them teasing an alliance or a feud or something. Chelsea has nothing else going on. She just got cleared. Alba Fire got fired. Piper Niven is out injured indefinitely, so I like it. We'll see where it goes. Fernando said it's been announced. I assume you're talking about the Mario movie. I'm hoping it's Smash Bros. It definitely will not be Fernando, but I think that'd be fucking awesome. I said that after the last movie came out a few months ago. Last month I did a short here on the channel talking about how the next, where I want to see this going is Smash Bros. Do I think that's where they're going? No. Have they planted the seeds for that? Kind of, with like Star Fox and shit, but like the post-credit scene unveiled, spoiler alert, the movie came out a month ago, but they unveiled Daisy. Like, they're really taking their time with that shit, because they probably know they can get 1 million movies out of the Mario shit. So they're not rushing into it, which is fine, but I want it like yesterday. Fernando said, are you a fan of the Sonic movies, and have you heard that the 4th one has wrapped up? I think I did know they wrapped up the 4th one. I don't remember. Like, wrapped up filming or production or whatever. Yeah, I actually do like the movies. I was not expecting to like them as much as I did. The first one was way better than I thought it would be. The second one was even better than that one, which surprised me. And the third one was even better than that. They actually have gotten better, which is shocking. I think all 3 movies have been great. I don't know why there really is a need for a 4th one, but it's the same thing like with Mario. If they make money and they're doing well, then why not? But creatively, narratively, I'm not really sure what more they can do, but I think they teased some stuff at the end of the last one, so I don't know. Johnny was not a fan of The Boys Season 5 or its finale. It peaked in the first episode. Yeah, I disagree, but you seem to have the majority opinion, so that's fine. Homelander had a few more memes before he died. Indeed, noob, you're not wrong. Johnny said, I will binge watch Vault Rising and not watch it weekly. I mean, if you're going to watch it regardless, I'm not really sure what the point would be, but I saw the trailer. It looks, fine. Do I really think they need to make more boys stuff? Like, do I really think they need more spin-offs? I don't. I don't like the whole spin-off shit. Answer Fernando's question. Are you looking forward to Vault Rising? I am. Am I looking forward to it? Yeah, in the sense that everything I've seen from the showrunners has been good so far. I love The Boys. I thought Gen V Season 1 was better than Season 2. I still like Season 2. A lot of people did not, and that's fine. I get why. It ultimately was kind of a pointless show. Is Vault Rising really that necessary? No. I will watch it. Do I think it's going to be great? I don't know. I mean, what I've seen so far from them has been good, so I do have optimism. He said, Sage was the most worthless character in the whole show, and the Deep was such a D-bag. I'm glad he got tore up by the Seed Life. Yeah, Sage being worthless, I mean, she did help. She was right. I mean, she was right as far as how to defeat Homelander. I wouldn't call her worthless. Am I a big Sage fan? Not really. Am I glad they kind of wrote her off with the whole Harry Potter shit? Yeah, I'm glad they kind of got rid of her halfway through so she didn't really factor into the finish. The Deep is just he has been an awful character the entire show. Like, that's not a new thing. He has been a sleazebag since day goddamn one. I am so glad, like you said, that he died the way that he did. I thought that was so satisfying. Did I like Edge and Jericho as a team? I did. I thought their team was great. Unfortunately, they got hurt, or Edge fucking tore his ACL or his Achilles, I think, almost immediately. So their team only lasted like 3 weeks. Edge even won a tag team title with Hogan. I did mention that earlier. Yes, I think it was on the 4th of July SmackDown, was it not, back in 2002? Nathaniel said, would you want Sadie Sink to be Tom Holland's Spider-Man new love interest? No, I think he still loves MJ, so why would he pivot to Sadie Sink? Especially if she's Jean Grey, though. And it's not even like she's Gwen Stacy. She's not. She's probably, I mean, I would think she'll probably be Jean Grey is the rumor, so I'm going to say no. Nathaniel said, also, I can't wait to see how big of a role Tom Holland's Spider-Man has in the Avengers, Doomsday, or Secret Wars. I am telling you, Nathaniel, we've talked about this. I don't think he will be in Doomsday. I don't. I mean, could they announce him for Doomsday after his movie comes out? Yeah, but what would be the point of that? Just announce him now. I don't really see what point of that has. He's already got a movie coming out in Brand New Day. So I think he'll obviously be in Secret Wars, no doubt about that. Do I think he'll be in Doomsday? No, I don't. Fernando said, your favorite video game movie adaptation? That's a great question. It might be that first Mario movie. Give me some examples. If you have any examples, Fernando, or anyone listening, let me know. I'm sure there's plenty of them. There's been a lot of faithful adaptions. There's been a lot of garbage adaptions too. But probably that first Mario movie. I really, really liked that Mario movie from 2020. The second one was good too, but I really liked that first one. I'm just a sucker for like the Nintendo Mario shit. And that first movie almost made me emotional. I loved it so much. The Sonic movies are really good. They're not my favorite because Sonic wasn't really my thing growing up, but I do like the movies. Mortal Kombat, Johnny said, I was never a Mortal Kombat fan, nor did I watch the first movie, and I also heard it wasn't that good anyway. So, no. Mortal Kombat. You also said Mortal Kombat 2 noob. Yeah, I haven't seen those movies, nor do I really care about Mortal Kombat, so I can't say those. Other video game adaptions. I did see, what was that movie with Tom Holland? I liked the movie. I never played the game, so I never really, I didn't care that much. I heard people shit on the movie. I liked it. What was it called? It came out, I think, in 2021 or 2022. I enjoyed that for what it was. It's not my favorite movie adaptation. That was a video game. But I like that movie. Yeah, I would really have to think about it. Mortal Kombat. Let me look it up real quick. Let me look it up. Also, Nathaniel asked, do you think Hulk will battle Spider-Man in Brand New Day? Let's say yes. I could see some friendly fire going on there. Oh, Uncharted. Thank you, noob. Yeah, that was the movie. I liked the movie. Never played the game, but I liked the movie. Fernando also asked earlier, did you enjoy The Punisher One Last Kill? I did. I thought it was great. A lot of violence. Did it really add anything to this? I mean, again, we talked about this like with Mario and with Grogu. I mean, it was better than those two things, but did it really add anything to the story of Punisher? No, it didn't. Didn't really progress anything along, essentially, but I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. Very violent, like I said. I thought the action was great. Only 50 minutes. I think the one-shot stuff is strong. I like the one-shots. I like the Vampire Diaries or whatever it was called. The one they did about, like, Death by Daylight or whatever. The one from 4 years ago. I like that one. And the Guardians Holiday Special I really like too. So I did like Punisher One Last Kill. Let's see. I'm typing in video game movie adaptions. List of films. Oh, Fallout. Yeah, I've seen Fallout. I like that show. I never really played Fallout. I am looking at... So I found Wiki. Wiki has a... I was going to say the Super Mario... Hold on. I think my thing disconnected. Give me a second here. All right, it says reconnected. So if my video like stopped or was chopped up or whatever, I apologize. We should be back now. Anyway, so I'm looking at this wiki page of list of films adapted or video games adapted into movies. And this is chronological. I saw the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I thought it was ranked by budget or by money made. And I saw that it had 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I was like, what the fuck? The 2023 movie? But they're talking about the 1993 movie. Not the one from 2023. I did see this one. Wasn't this... I watched this one a very long time ago. I'm looking at the... They have Bowser in this one? Yeah, it was President King Koopa. He wasn't fully Bowser. Yeah, I watched that movie as a kid. It was fucking terrible. Wasn't this the movie with, or was that the show? I think they did the show with, what's his name? Captain Lou Albano. Anyway, so they had the 93 Mario Bros. Movie. That movie's not good. Double Dragon, don't know what that is. Street Fighter 94, never saw it. Mortal Kombat, they did originally in 95. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I think I've heard both of those are terrible. Wing Commander, no idea. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, I remember that movie. Resident Evil, never saw it. I know they're making a new one. Another Lara Croft movie in '03, didn't see it. House of the Dead, Resident Evil. I made a lot of the same sort of movies. Resident Evil Apocalypse, Alone in the Dark. This is '05 now. Doom. I know that's the movie with The Rock, I believe. Yeah, The Rock's in Doom. I heard that was fucking awful. Blood Rain, Silent Hill, DOA, Dead or Alive. Resident Evil Extinction, Postal, Hitman. In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege Tale. Far Cry, Max Payne. A lot of these I've never heard of before. I know the games, but not the movies. Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li, Tekken, Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, Resident Evil Afterlife, Resident Evil Retribution, Silent Hill, Revelation, Need for Speed, Hitman, Agent 47, Warcraft. They made a Warcraft movie? The fuck? 29%. Oh, the Rotten Tomatoes on these are amazing. Assassin's Creed. I remember those coming out. That got 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. Damn. It made a lot of money, though. It made $240 million. I worked at a movie theater when that came out, so that's why I remember it. Never saw it, though. Resident Evil, The Final Chapter, Tomb Raider. You know, so I did see Rampage. I did see Rampage with The Rock. I think a lot of these ones coming up I've seen. I did see Rampage with The Rock. That might be among my favorites just because I never saw any of the other ones I just mentioned. Or don't remember them. I did see Rampage. It's not great. It's actually got a better Rotten Tomatoes than most shit up to this point, to be honest with you. It's not a great movie. It's fine. But I loved Rampage as a kid. It's not even really fully, true to the core material, but I like the movie, and Rock was in it, so whatever. Dead Trigger. I didn't even know that was a thing. I remember Pokemon Detective Pikachu. I enjoyed it. It was fine. It made a lot of money. I didn't see it till like a year or two later. It took me a long time to see it because I didn't really care. I enjoyed it. Sonic the Hedgehog was great. I mentioned that. Monster Hunter, Mortal Kombat, I mentioned. Werewolves Within, Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. I remember that one. Uncharted, I mentioned. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was great. I did see Five Nights at Freddy's. I like that one. It's not a great movie. I thought it was good. I think the second one is actually better. I know you, Fernando, had said it was terrible, or you thought it was terrible, but I liked it for what it was. Borderlands was a massive failure. I heard that was awful. I might have to watch that just to see how bad it was. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, did like that one as well. Minecraft movie I saw, thought it was terrible, but a lot of people loved it, made a fucking bajillion dollars. Until Dawn, did not see FNAF 2, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Return to Silent Hill, Iron Lung, I did not know was a game. I think I knew that or just forgot. Didn't see the movie, Alexis did. And Mortal Kombat 2 is coming out, or already did come out. Wait, Mortal Kombat 2 already came out? Damn. I forgot about that. Fuck. I think Street Fighter is the one that I'm thinking, like as far as, that's still coming out, so I kind of forgot. All right, so yeah, based on that list, my answer is still, well, why is Super Mario Bros. Not on here? Super Mario Bros. 2023 and 2024. Why would that not be on here? Because it's not based on an actual game. It's based on just a franchise, I guess. That's fucking dumb. But the first Super Mario Bros. Is on here. That's pretty stupid. This is live action. Hold on. Upcoming. There's an animated list, too. Hold on. I'll go back to the chat in a second. There's a lot of shit that's coming up. A lot of this stuff probably won't even happen. Okay, so animated. The first one here is Final Fantasy. There's not really been a lot of animated movies based on video games. Holy shit. Because the first one is Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within from '01. And then there's not another one until like '08 with the Resident Evil movies, Degeneration and Damnation. Moshi Monsters, the movie. Never heard of that. Heavenly Sword, Ratchet and the Clank, the Angry Birds movie. I heard about that. I remember when that came out. Didn't see it. Came out way later than it probably should have. They came out with the second one? They did a second one of those movies? Holy fuck. And they made a lot of money. Holy shit. Super Mario Bros. I mentioned. Scary Girl, don't know what that is. Resident Evil, Death Island. Did anyone see that? What the fuck is that? And the Super Mario Galaxy movie. They are making an Angry Birds 3, and it's coming out in December. I did not know that. Holy shit. All right. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting list. Let me pull back open the chat here and see what you guys are saying. Give me one sec. All right. I loved Uncharted. Tom Holland. Nathaniel said, I think they're making an Uncharted 2. Are they? I mean, that movie came out like 5 years ago, and I've heard nothing about a sequel being made. So you're probably right, but why would it take so long to be made, you know? Fernando said Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Event Horizon, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, Minecraft, Borderlands. Yeah, the only one of those that I've seen that you mentioned, Fernando, was Minecraft, which was just fucking mind-numbingly dumb. But it was almost so dumb that it was bad. So bad that it was almost good or enjoyable in a way, like The Room. That's what it kind of reminded me of. Do you like all of the John Wick movies, and do you hope for another one? Yes, I like all of the John Wick movies. I also really liked Ballerina last year. No, I honestly don't hope for another. I know they're making another one, but it's like, just stop. You know, like, narratively, creatively, I thought the fourth one ended on a really good note. But now they're bringing it back again. It's like, bro, no. Like, just stop. I know why they're doing it. It made a lot of money, I'm sure, but no, I don't want another one. Alien versus Predator. I have actually never seen that, Fernando. I've seen Aliens, and I think I've seen all of the Predator movies at this point. I did a Predator rewatch going into Badlands last year. I did not watch Alien versus Predator, but I think it's on Disney Plus now, so I will have to watch it at some point. Fernando said Doom with The Rock was trash. I have heard that. Noob said DOA, Dead or Alive, has Kevin Nash in it. What movie is fucking Kevin Nash not in? He's also in the Punisher movie from 2008. He's in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as Splinter. He's in Magic Mike. He's in John Wick. Kevin Nash is in the most random shit. Did I like Black Adam with Rock? I thought it was good. I did not think it was great. I enjoyed it at the time. I have not gone back and watched it since. I don't really have any desire. It also led nowhere, which did not make it any better. Doom and Rampage are the worst movies that The Rock starred in. I don't know if that. Doom, maybe. I don't know. I would not say the Rampage was the worst movie The Rock has ever done. The Rock has done some fucking god-awful shit. Are you telling me, Noob, that Rampage is worse than, Race to Witch Mountain 2? Or I just find that hard to believe. The Rock, Baywatch. Come on. Baywatch I saw. There's a lot of Rock movies I enjoy or I think are fun. San Andreas is dumb as fuck. I like that movie, but it's dumb as fuck. Baywatch was just stupid. And I love Alexander Daddario. I think The Rock is great in some stuff that he's in. I like Zac Efron. Baywatch was, I can't even say it was disappointing, but like I saw it and I'm like, this is just stupid. I'm excited for Sonic movie. Are you guys going to miss Dr. Eggman? You talking about Jim Carrey's character? I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the next one. I'm so excited for Minecraft 2. I hope it's great. I am not excited for it, but I did see that first one, so I will likely see the next one. Rockstar and the Tooth Fairy, that's bad. Yeah, I didn't see. Oh no, I did not see that. That's what I'm saying. Tooth Fairy, come on, noob. Tooth Fairy's got to be fucking worse. Tooth Fairy, Rampage was fine. Rampage I thought was good for what it was. Compared to Rock's other movies, I saw Skyscraper. Skyscraper was worse. Skyscraper was worse. Tooth Fairy's got to be worse. Baywatch is worse. There are plenty of Rock movies that were way worse than fucking Rampage. Even Red 1 was like, what is this? There were parts of it that I enjoyed. Definitely worse than fucking Rampage. Are you disappointed they canceled Black Adam 2 because of the Superman tease in the post-credit scene? I didn't even really care about the Superman tease in the post-credit scene because I was never a DC guy. I was never a fan. Like, the guy that did Superman at that point was good, but, like, I never really got into those movies. I only saw I like Real Steel. Real Steel's amazing. I only ever saw Man of Steel for the first time last year, and I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. I've heard people call it like the greatest thing ever and the worst thing ever. I didn't think it was either of those things. No, I did not like Red 1, Nathaniel, sorry. But the fact that what pissed me off about the Black Adam shit is that The Rock had to have his a fucking stick up his ass and be like, no, they got to be separate projects and we got to do different movies and all this other shit and build him facing Shazam, and it never even happened. Like, you could have just done this 5 years earlier, and they wasted so much fucking time and it didn't even happen. That is what pissed me off about that shit. All right, so what we'll do now is go to these scheduled questions. So give me 1 second here. We will throw up the questions. We will go back to the chat when I am done with these scheduled questions. So if you have any questions, to send it in the chat or any comments or whatever, then be sure to include them, and we will get back to them. Anyway, here are the questions for today's video. Jordan B. from YouTube asked, except for WrestleMania stages. Also, by the way, if you're watching live, please like the video. Always appreciated. Helps the video a lot. Helps with, engagement and fucking showing up in the algorithm and shit. So if you haven't already, just a reminder, like the video, subscribe, all that stuff, greatly appreciated. All right, Jordan B. said, except for WrestleMania stages, what are your favorite pay-per-view stage designs? For me, it's AEW Double or Nothing 2019, SummerSlam 08, the old WCW Halloween Havoc stage design, King of the Ring 01, Armageddon 02 and 08, and the Taboo Tuesday Cyber Sunday stage. Those are all great. I was there for Double or Nothing 2019. The poker chip shit I thought was cool. That might be AEW's best stage design that I can remember anyway. SummerSlam 08 is awesome. I love the theater look. You said aside from Mania stages, so I can't say Mania 39 or 33, both of which I was there for and thought they were just a visual delight to see live. But SummerSlam 08 is great. I'm trying to think of other stage designs that really stand out. I always liked the Backlash hook. I always thought that was great. Judgment Day had the big world thing, if I remember correctly. Money in the Bank, they used to have the fucking armored car and shit. I don't know if they still do that, but I liked that back in the day. Trying to think of what else. I mean, King of the Ring 01, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly why you said that, especially for the Shane Angle match, and I agree with that. Armageddon had a good set. I remember the Armageddon 08 set because I remember Jeff Hardy standing on it after he won the WWE Championship. The Taboo Tuesday Cyber Sunday stage with I think the keyboard and shit was always memorable. I agree with that. There's none other ones, honestly, that really come to mind aside from the random or occasional Backlash set, like I said, from the 2000s. The 2000s may have been the best decade for pay-per-view sets. Pay-per-view names, pay-per-view themes. I think that the 2000s were the best decade for all of that shit. So I would probably echo all of what you said. The Halloween Havoc stage I also agree with because the fucking giant pumpkin I always thought was really cool. Especially SummerSlam 08. I can't think of any other ones. Oh, honestly, maybe Vengeance Day 05. That had the Vegas theme. I remember that. That was the same show that they did Cena and Jericho and Christian, I believe, for the WWE title. They did Angle and Shawn Michaels and Batista and Triple H inside Hell in the Cell. But I remember the poker chips and the fucking playing cards. So I'll mention Vengeance 05 as well. You said, what movie did you pop big for when they did a big wrestling move in the action scene? I pop huge for Godzilla giving King Kong a suplex and Godzilla Kong the New Empire. Anytime The Rock throws in a rock bottom in his movies, especially during Fast and Furious, I did pop during those. I'm sure Cena's done an AA before. I don't remember. I'm sure he has. Him ever doing a Batista bomb always popped me. I know he's done that at least once or twice. Those were the biggest ones. You're talking about stuff that doesn't have to do with wrestlers. You're just talking about suplex and, from fucking Godzilla and Kong. I will give you another one. Another one that always pops me. I just rewatched it a few months ago. Shrek. The wrestling scene in Shrek when they're playing Bad Reputation by Joan Jett. Shout out to Ronda Rousey being her theme song. But I was popping for that as a fucking kid. And, Shrek hitting the diving elbow, give him the chair, and all that other shit. The wrestling scene in Shrek and the super kick, boom, from Donkey at the end there to the guard was great. So I'll go Shrek as being my favorite. Nike Fan 02, when CM Punk returns, do you see him returning as a heel on SmackDown or on Raw? I don't see him returning as a heel regardless. I know we talked about that going into WrestleMania. I don't think he comes back as a heel. I think that'd be kind of dumb unless there was a reason to do it. And what would he even do? Come back and turn heel on Cody? I feel like we've seen that a million times. So I would not bring him back as a heel quite yet. Do I see him going to SmackDown? I did, but then they put Gunther on SmackDown. So honestly, I'm not really sure what they're going to do. I will say that he'll come back to Raw, but at some point, I think we'll see him on SmackDown. SmackDown could use the roster depth. I don't really know what they do with him. I know they teased him and Cody, but I feel like they could be saving that for WrestleMania. And he doesn't have to be on SmackDown in the meantime. He asked, do you think Drake will be the 2027 Super Bowl performer next year? He might be. I know he just put out a new album, or like fucking 3 of them or something. I don't know. I don't follow his stuff, so I just remember him putting out an album while I was away a few weeks ago. He might be. I know there was like the whole Kendrick and Drake thing a few years ago, and they had Kendrick do the Super Bowl, and he was taking shots at Drake and whatnot. So maybe to kind of reverse the roles, they'll put him in that spot. I know last year they had Bad Bunny. I thought he was great. I'm never good with predicting who's going to do the Super Bowl because it's never really music I listen to. But I know who Bad Bunny is, and I enjoyed his Super Bowl performance. No L from Facebook asked, thoughts on Mick Foley going to AEW? I mentioned this earlier in the chat, but I think it's great. I think it's a great fit for them. I know he has his issues with WWE right now. Completely understand why and where he stands on that, because I kind of agree with a lot of what he's saying for the most part. But anyway, I'm kind of surprised he wasn't there sooner, to be honest. It's not like WWE's really done anything with Foley in recent years while he's been under a Legends deal, and he wasn't already there a few years ago. Honestly, he probably would have left WWE regardless, because if he wanted to do one more match, maybe WWE would have allowed him to do it elsewhere, like in a GCW or something. I think he's been involved in GCW in the last couple of months, if I'm not mistaken, while he was under a WWE deal. But anyway, I don't really, like I said earlier, I don't really need to see him wrestle. I don't really have any desire to see that. But him being there as like a pep talker, but also doing the pre-shows, I think that's a great role for him. Do you think Will Ospreay will be AEW World Champion by the end of the year? I do. I think he still wins the Owen Hart Cup for the men, and I still think he wins that belt at All In. They couldn't do it or they didn't do it last year. They could have, they didn't, and I'm glad they didn't. Adam Page was the better choice in retrospect. But they're back there this year in England, and I would do it there. So, yeah, I think Ospreay. So I'll do you one better. And I said this before the pay-per-view this past weekend, and I feel like I'm being proven right here. Remember this, clip this out. I predicted Darby would drop the belt to MJF at Double or Nothing. As we all did, that's not a bold prediction. But what I also said before Double or Nothing is that Kenny Omega will come back soon, beat MJF for the belt after losing to MJF at Dynasty. Bear with me here. At some point between now and All In, and then Ospreay faces Omega for the belt at All In and takes the title from him. And they have their third match that they have not had yet. They've only had 2. You could do the third match in Wembley Stadium. That's where Ospreay wins the belt. I would rather see Ospreay and Omega 3 over Ospreay and MJF 3, which we already saw actually at All in Wembley 2 years ago. That Ospreay already won. I don't need to see that again, personally. And what I was proven more right by was the fact that today they announced AEW is doing another new pay-per-view. This was already rumored, and they confirmed it today. I forgot what it's called, but they're doing a pay-per-view in July in Montreal. So I think that's where Omega wins the belt, and then he defends against Ospreay at All In, and Ospreay wins. That is my prediction. Christopher L. from Facebook, his first question was, he said, howdy, Graham. Hope you and Alexis are doing great. Had an awesome Memorial Day weekend and day, and had an awesome time watching Double or Nothing like a large portion of wrestling fans did. I thought the show was absolutely superb from top to bottom. Excellent wrestling, pretty good storytelling, and a volcanic hot crowd in a 6 stadium, and a nice twist at the end with Kevin Knight turning heel. Also super cool to see Mick Foley in the company, and his promo segment with MJF was a lot of fun. Overall, one of not only the greatest AEW pay-per-views of all time, but one of the best pro wrestling pay-per-views in the last 10 years. Do you agree? How did you feel about the show? And does it really seem like AEW has been on a roll these past 5 months that can be considered quite the turnaround? As far as the last part is concerned, I'll mention that first. Yes, I think AEW has had a very hot 2026. I mentioned that already, but I think it was definitely evident while watching that show. I did not watch it completely uninterrupted. I stopped watching it halfway through, just got other shit going on Sunday. But by the time I was finished with it, yeah, it was a great show. It was an excellent show. Best pay-per-view of the year so far. AEW is doing great stuff. I really like the world title scene storytelling at the moment. The matches are obviously great. They have a really good roster. They're making the most of it at the moment. AEW has a lot of momentum, and it's paying off as far as their attendance is concerned and whatnot. So it's nice to see them trending in the right direction. As far as the pay-per-view itself, again, I talked about this earlier when someone asked about it in the chat. Is it one of the best AEW pay-per-views ever? I've seen a lot of people say that, but I've also seen a lot of people say that about literally every other fucking show they've ever done. So I'm not going to sit here and say that. We would have to go through the gamut like of every single show they've ever done. I still go back to the first Double or Nothing for what it meant for that company, getting their TV deal, Moxley's debut, and how significant that show was. I go back to the first Revolution and how hot that show was right before COVID hit. I go back to All Out 2021. I go back to Revolution 2022. I think that was an amazing show. I go to All In 2024 and 2025. I thought both of those shows were excellent. All Out last year was really good. There's been some sleeper shows in there too. Wrestle Dream 2023. So I can't sit here and say that was one of the best pay-per-views they've ever done. It was an excellent show. I'd really have to think about it because people say this shit all the fucking time about this company. I'm sure people were saying it after Dynasty and Revolution, which were both great shows. Revolution is consistently AEW's best pay-per-view. I know that wasn't your question, but it is, more so than Double or Nothing. Was this the best Double or Nothing they've ever done? It might have been. It was definitely better than any Double or Nothing between 2020 and 2023. I'd have to think back on the ones from 2024 and 2025. It probably was better than those two. I don't remember. But anyway, it's hard to say. Like, one of the best pro wrestling pay-per-views of the last 10 years, it might be. I don't know. Again, that's just such a stretch to say. Can you honestly, confidently say that as opposed to just how you feel in the moment? Because I feel like when people say that stuff, they just don't think like how it compares to other shit that was just way more significant or just equally as good. And I'm not trying to hate. I'm just trying to be realistic here. Like, again, All Out 2021 was a significant turning point for that company. I would put that over this show. I will not go back and rewatch this show. It was an excellent show. I don't know if I'll go back and rewatch it in full. That would also include a lot of WWE shows that were excellent from the last 10 years. A lot of New Japan shows, like a lot of Wrestle Kingdoms that were excellent. So I can't confidently sit here and say that this is one of the best shows of the last 10 years. I'm not going to sit here and say that. But it was an excellent show. Don't want to poo-poo on your parade, but we got to put things in perspective. Maybe if we're still, ask me again in a year, because I feel like people say this shit after every fucking show they do, and no one is talking about that show ever again. You know what I mean? So, like, you kind of have to go back and it's way, 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 way too early to say. Ask me again in 6 months to a year, is that Double or Nothing still among their best shows? Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know if people will still be talking about it. I feel like people will move on. And that is honestly a good issue that AEW has, where they have so many great shows. It's kind of hard to kind of remember how many great shows they've actually had. Anyway, he said, after Darby's insanely productive and entertaining world title reign, how would you rank it among the best in the company's history? Also, isn't it great to have a champion that defends every single week once or twice? Yeah, again, you can't have champions like that all the time. It's not sustainable. But when you do it once in a while, it's cool. And I thought the Darby experiment was great. I totally agree. I thought the reign was awesome. So I did a WrestleRant ranks last Monday. This Monday's, as I said I put up a post about it yesterday. I didn't have time to record one yesterday. I should have one up tomorrow. Very likely ranking all the matches from Double or Nothing. So keep an eye out for that. But anyway, as far as Darby's reign is concerned, I did a WrestleRant ranks episode last Monday, ranking every reign with the AEW World Championship in the last 7 years. I put this, I think, fourth, and it wasn't even over yet at that point. I think I put it fourth. I put MJF's first run first, then Omega's run. It may have even been third, honestly. No, I'm sorry. I think I put Moxley's first reign also up there too. So I would go MJF, Omega, Moxley, just because Moxley was also champion during... I may have even put Moxley above Omega, because Omega had a lot of good matches. Moxley had more matches as champion, so he honestly may have had the best run. But anyway, I would put those three and then Darby. Darby's was only a month, and the other reigns were more significant and had bigger moments and matches, but Darby had a lot of great matches in the span of a month, so I would probably put him fourth. I would probably put him in the Mount Rushmore of best AEW World title reigns so far in the company's history. He said, I've said it once, and I will say it again, that no matter what, or no matter how good he might be in the ring, I just cannot find myself liking Eddie Edwards. Sure, he was in a fantastic tag team with Davey Richards and the Wolves, but Davey was the more interesting of the group. Davey felt like a guy with an edge, while Eddie felt milquetoast. Yeah, that's a good word. I've heard that used before. I know what milquetoast means. It's such a good word. Anyway, the only good thing out of the rivalry was that it was basically a stepping stone to great former tag team rivalries like DIY in 2017 and 2018. Then Eddie turns heel in 2022, and he, for some reason, becomes the leader of Honor No More, in the group that I had no interest with beforehand, becomes channel-changing he. And now he's a heel and a leader again for the top stable of the system, and he's more insufferable than ever. It also doesn't change that the fact the guy can't change the fact that the guy can't cut a promo, and now he's running a group with 4 other charisma vacuums. I just feel he's forced down the fans' throats, more for his loyalty to the company than whether or not he's truly over. It's very much an Eric Young situation, except Eddie is admittedly a far more talented and dynamic professional wrestler. What has your opinion been of Eddie Edwards, and do you think I make a fair assessment of the guy if I may seem a little harsh? Even if I might seem a little harsh. No, I don't really think you're wrong. I like Eddie Edwards. Great guy, great wrestler. He's not the guy you build your company around. He never really was. I mean, I think he's been TNA World Champion twice. The first one was very brief. Maybe more than once or twice. I don't remember. He beat Bobby for the belt back in late 2016. I think he lost the belt right back to Bobby not long after. And then I remember he won the belt in 2020, immediately lost it to Eric Young. So he's never really been the guy. He's a better babyface than a heel, but he's also a guy that's been there for so fucking long that they just don't really have anything for him to do that's overly interesting. He's just there. He's just kind of there to work with the newer names and put them over. Is he a main event level performer even in TNA? No, he's not a perennial main eventer. He kind of is now because he's been there for so long. Do I look at Eddie Edwards as this, like, someone who should be a 5-time world champion? Not really, no. I do agree. I feel like he's always been better as, like, an underneath guy or a tag team guy. Main event guy, I would agree with that. I don't hate Eddie Edwards. I don't think he's channel-changing material to me, but I would agree he's not main event material, consistently. I would agree with you on that. His fourth question here, he said, the last 4 weeks, the IWC has been tear burying, near burying? I don't know, what is tear burying? This new English kid in NXT, Mason Rook. They have ripped this kid apart, from his look to his physique to maybe even his promo style / accent. I have never seen someone get scorched earth the way that this guy. I don't know what the fuck you're looking at, pal. Christopher, I love you, brother. I don't know what you're talking about. I have seen nothing but praise for this kid. Yeah, some people are making fun of his look. He's fat. Okay. I've seen a lot of people call him like, oh, the next Brock and all this other. He's not the next Brock, but like, is he the next fucking what? I don't know. I don't even know who he would be the next of whatever, but he's a good, I've seen people pay attention to him, if anything. Like, people have been taking notice of him. I don't know where this, like, oh, he's fat and people are burying him. I haven't seen that at all. Anyway, he said, now I know he's not built like a Greek god, or he's not the greatest talker or this lightning rod of charisma, but he's only been here 3 weeks. But I feel the heat he has gotten is starting to feel out of control and uncalled for. I've watched some of his work and he's very talented. So what do you think? Has the hate gotten out of control or uncalled for? Have you found some fun in their criticism of him and can find some way to spin it to make it seem like it was just harmless mudslinging? Again, Christopher, I can't really comment on that because I genuinely have not seen that at all. I feel like your algorithm might be so pro AEW that anything you see is anti-WWE and everyone is shitting on everyone in WWE. I don't know. I have seen legitimately no heat towards Mason Rook from some fans. I mean, I'm sure there are people calling him fat and shit, but like you're saying, it's out of control. I saw more heat towards Piper Niven, calling her fat and calling her, fucking Mason Rook more than Mason Rook himself. If anything, I've seen more people glaze him. I mean, I've barely seen anything from him, so I'm not going to sit here and say he's the second coming of Jesus. But like, what I've seen from him is interesting. He catches my attention. I have not seen the mudslinging, as you say. I have not seen that at all, so I can't really speak to that. Last comment or question here from Christopher. He said, Sol Ruka got called up to the main roster and then after WrestleMania, and for the most part, the critics have called it a mixed bag. She has been placed in a couple of big match spots, and while she has lost, she's come out strong. although she has constantly botched her Soul Snatcher finisher. Last week's match with Becky Lynch, though, really exposed her. It was an angle more than a match that ended embarrassingly and poorly executed. I'm just going to be truthful with you like I always am. I don't feel Sol Ruca is as fantastic or as amazing as everyone makes her out to be. Is she super athletic? Yes, but her athleticism and her finisher is the only reason she's over. I wouldn't agree with that, Christopher. I think I'll go back to it. I'll answer it when we're done here. He said her character work is non-existent, her promos are flat and monotone, and her in-ring psychology needs a lot of work. I don't hate or think badly of her, but I feel like she was pushed much too soon because of Shawn Michaels' favoritism of her in NXT. A few weeks ago, she was visually aligned with an NXT mini documentary package of Rhea Ripley in NXT, making it somewhat seem like they view her as the next Rhea Ripley. I did not get the gist at all. Basically, they're going to pull all this hype onto a woman who I feel isn't ready for the spot she's in. Do you feel they were pushing her too fast, too soon by putting her in matches where she is clearly still green as Shrek? How does the story of her being in a title feud with Becky Lynch make any sense where she hasn't even won a match on the main roster yet? Should she change her finishing move since she's botching it every week? And is there any way to rehab the mistakes they have made with her since April 20th? So I do not agree with 95% of what you said there, Christopher. I don't think people think she's only over for her finisher. Do people love the finisher? Yes. Bro, she got a great reaction when she got called up. And she's been over for the most part since she got called up because people like Sol Ruca. She's a very likable character. She is very athletic. She's not the best wrestler in the world, but she's improved a lot. She's been in that company now. She's an NIL athlete. She's been there for like 3 or 4 years. They didn't rush her up. She was main roster ready. She's been ready for a while. Have they botched her? Has she botched her finisher twice in the last few weeks? Yes. Poorly timed and poorly executed. But I'll say the same thing like I said about AJ Styles botching the Styles Clash, which was more on the people taking it and not AJ when they got hurt all those years ago. And people were like, oh, should have changed his finisher. No, he did it for a fucking decade, and he was fine doing it in TNA, and it was fine after all the injuries a few years ago, like 10 years ago. Sol Ruca was hitting that finisher for the most part pretty cleanly in that next day. It's not always like perfectly executed, but she hits it well enough times where it doesn't really matter. People don't really care, and it's still super fucking over. It's an incredible visual. If she can hit it more often than not, does it make sense, like the move itself, as far as how she hits it? No. But people love the finisher, so I would keep the move. Even though she's been botching it, it was just terribly timed with Jessica Carr, and when she hit it on Becky a few weeks ago and it was botched, I think she slipped. I think that's not like she mistimed it. I think she just slipped. I don't think she's that green. I don't think her promos are that bad. I don't know. You're acting like she's overly pushed. Lack of character development. Her whole fucking feud with Zarya was nothing but character development. So, I mean, I don't know if you just don't watch NXT or what. Or if, like, she got called up, so you're like, oh, I don't like her. I don't know what your issue is with Sol Ruca. You talked about, are you being too harsh on Eddie Edwards? I think I'm going to be honest with you and say I don't really agree with anything of what you said. I mean, obviously it's an opinion, but a lot of it just seems unfounded. I think Sol will be fine. She's obviously newer. She's younger. She'll obviously improve and get better. Should she be women's world champion tomorrow? No, which is why I like her being in the mid-card title scene. Does it make sense that she's getting a title shot despite losing all of her matches so far? Yes and no. They've acknowledged that, though. Her match with Becky at Saturday Night's Main Event was a non-title match. And the only reason she's getting a title match is because she won by DQ. Should she have won that match by pinfall? Yeah, probably. She should be winning other matches on television before she, wins the belt, I would say, on Saturday, which is probably why I would have her lose. But if she wins, whatever. She needs to start winning other matches. So, yeah, I just don't really agree. Last questions here from Twitter. At Iwagu91 said, your thoughts on Kevin Knight turning heel? I thought it was great. I thought it was too soon. I still think he's over enough as a babyface. I would not have turned him at this point. But clearly they're setting him up to face. They want to keep Darby busy after being world champion. That's how you do it. So it's going to be Darby and Kevin Knight probably pretty soon for the TNT title. They can keep Kevin Knight busy for now with Speedball. I like that. He should be a good heel. I just would not have done it as quickly as they did. I feel like he was pretty great as a babyface. But, whatever. We'll see how he does. And it's a great spot for him to be in, for sure. And it gets Darby back away from the world title for the foreseeable future. His second question, with the King of the Ring with the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments coming up, who do you see winning? So this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. As far as who I could see winning, I did say originally Obafemi, but since I see him being busy with Brock, I'm gonna go for King of the Ring. I'll say Braun Breaker. I'll say Braun Breaker wins King of the Ring. For Queen of the Ring, I could see Roxanne, but I don't know. I guess I'll say Roxanne. JC Jane is also an option. Blake Monroe would be crazy if they just had her debut and win the whole thing. I don't think that's what they're going to do. I don't think they'll immediately thrust her into the Queen of the Ring tournament. Not Jade again. Jade won it last year. She's already challenging for the championship anyway, coming up at Clash in Italy and probably losing as she should. Yeah, Roxanne, I said JC Jane in my article. Io Sky is another one. So to me, it's either probably Braun, if not Oba. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with Oba. Probably him and Brock at SummerSlam, unfortunately, which keeps him out of the title picture. And he should be champion by SummerSlam. He should be world champion by SummerSlam. Probably not happening, unfortunately. Whatever. For the women, JC Jane would be good. I would not do that personally, but she's an option. I would say either Roxanne or Io, and I will go Roxanne. Io's a bigger name. I could see them waiting on the Roxanne thing until Money in the Bank. So I'll go Io. I'll go Io and Braun Breaker. Your thoughts on Dark State turning on Saquon Sugars? I forgot how you pronounce his name, but yeah, I was surprised at that. I know they've been teasing tension with him for a while. I didn't think they would actually do it. He might be the biggest breakout star of the four, to be honest. So if that leads to him getting a singles push, then I'm fine with it. Dark State does nothing for me anyway, so I can't really pretend to give much of a shit. But if Sugars actually gets a push out of it and doesn't just get discarded and disappear from television, then I'm fine with it. Prince of S2. Let me just move my camera real quick so you guys can see the other questions. Hold on. Bam. All right, there we go. Prince of S2 from Twitter said, with the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments returning, it got me thinking, considering these SummerSlam title shots became a thing in 2002 and in recent years, how do you see that stipulation playing out with the pay-per-view era of the tournament? Same winners, but they get title shots. So what I assume by his question, what he means is, if they had the title shots around when they were still doing the pay-per-view many years ago, how would that have worked? All right, so in 2002, Brock won the tournament, went on to win the title at SummerSlam. Working backward from there, 2001, I think, was Edge. Edge, I don't think they would have had him win King of the Ring if the title shot was on the line at that point. Because he went on to win the IC championship and become a single star, but he was not challenging for the world title. So I don't think Edge would have won that year. Angle won in 2000. Angle went on to win the world title that year anyway, so I don't think that really would have changed. Billy Gunn, sure as fuck, would not have won King of the Ring in 99. I mean, was he really going to challenge for the world title? I think he faced The Rock at SummerSlam. I don't think that was for the title, though. If I remember correctly. 98 was Shamrock. I could see them giving him a title shot. I don't know if he would have won. Maybe he won in 97. I don't remember. 96 was Stone Cold. I still would have had him win. I don't know if he would have challenged for the championship in 96. That would have been him and Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam that year. That would have been great. They probably would have had Vader win King of the Ring, so he could have challenged Michaels at... I think Vader would have won instead. Let's put it that way. Someone else would have won instead of Billy Gunn. I don't know who that would have been in 99. In 95 was Mabel. He challenged for the championship anyway, even after winning King of the Ring, so that wouldn't have changed. 94, I think it was Bret Hart, and he challenged for the championship, or he was... No, Owen Hart won. Owen Hart won, and he challenged for the championship anyway, so I don't really think he would have been all that different during those years. Millennial Noob, last two of the final questions here. What are your thoughts on Jack Cartwheel and Gianna Capri being in WWE so far? It's funny how WWE just signed 2 wrestlers from the NWA. Will we see more NWA wrestlers get signed, and who will be there? He listed off Colby Corino, Kerry Morton, the Page Sisters, and Natalia Markova. Colby Corino, I thought he was WWE bound a while ago. I don't really know why he's still in NWA. I don't think it's going to happen at this point. I know WWE had interest many years ago, and it fell through. It's probably not going to happen now. Kerry Morton, I can see in WWE. The Page Sisters, definitely at least Kenzie. Maybe Kylie, but definitely Kenzie, I think, should get some WWE interest. Natalia Markova, I'm surprised she's still in NWA. I thought WWE would have picked her up a while ago. As far as other people there, I don't think Tom Latimer goes back. EC3 left to go back to TNA. I don't think he goes to WWE again. Murdoch retired. He's obviously not going back to WWE. You know who's another one? Thrillbilly Silas Mason. I've mentioned him before. I think he has a lot of potential. That guy's great. I think he's great. I don't know if Brian Idol would end up in WWE. But Silas Mason screams to me WWE. He's got size. He's a good talker, good wrestler. He should be in WWE at some point for sure. Second question from Noob. What are your thoughts on Willow Nightingale relinquishing the TBS title, not being in the women's side of the Owen Hart tournament? Who will be in the wild card, or who will be the wild card, and who will be the TBS champion? I am still not sure. I thought it would be Mercedes filling in for her, but the Nightingale thing was so random as far as her getting hurt that they had to move her match from Double or Nothing and put on Athena and Mina instead. So if Mercedes was coming back, they would have had that on the pay-per-view. And Mercedes would have faced Alex Windsor at the pay-per-view and beat her. That did not happen. So I don't think it's going to be Mercedes. I also don't think Mercedes should be TBS champion. I think whoever's in the tournament should be different than whoever is the TBS champion. Mercedes being in and winning the whole thing would work, but they would have to do a hard pivot because I don't think Mercedes was going to win if she was never announced for it in the first place. Unless they knew when they announced Willow for it that she wasn't cleared, but I don't think that's the case because she wrestled that Saturday on Collision. But anyway, as far as who should be in the tournament, I mean, it might just be someone simple like a Julia Hart. I think it's going to be someone that probably will not go that far. They might beat Alex Windsor, but I don't think they win the whole thing. So Julia Hart's an option. Thunder Rosa's not in it, is she? I mean, Thunder Rosa should probably be in it, even if she doesn't go that far. I would put Thunder Rosa in there personally. So I'll say Thunder Rosa. For TBS champion, Mina loses fucking everything. They should probably throw her a bone and give her the TBS title. Honestly, she loses so much, yet she's always on the show. You can honestly do a storyline over the title with Statlander and Sheeta. Sheeta's never been TBS champion before. I know she challenged for it recently and lost. Camille would be nice, but they already gave up on her again. Who cares? I would say Sheeta or Sheena, or Shirakawa. Shirakawa or Sheeta. I mean, there's other people that they aren't doing enough with, like Anna Jay would be cool, but she might be on her way out. Ty Mello, I don't know what the fuck, they're in a tag team right now, feuding with Divine Dominion. Megan Bain would be cool, but she's in the tag team, doing the tag team stuff right now. Tony's out. Athena would be great. I don't think it's Athena. Athena would be perfect, but I don't think it's Athena either. So I'll probably say Shirakawa or Sheeta. And last question here. Ope A three-way from Twitter. Is there any reason for FTR to entertain an offer from WWE? They mentioned at a show in Milwaukee that they had a 4-year deal, and when it was up, they were going to call it a career. We're close to that 4 years. I remember that. I remember that too. I was thinking that when I saw that report this morning about the FTR thing. We'll talk probably more about it on WrestleRant Radio this week, but it also kind of ties back into that report from WWE last week that they're looking to revitalize their tag team division. They're not. They don't give a fuck about tag team wrestling. If they did, they would have prioritized. They would have done more with New Day. They wouldn't have fired the Wyatt Six. They wouldn't be burying Los Garza. They wouldn't have fired the Motor City Machine Guns. They don't give a fuck about tag team wrestling. So I would be stunned if FTR went back now of all times. If there was any time for them to go back, it really would have been in 2023. I'm glad they didn't. They went on to have an incredible run in AEW in the last 4 years. That was better than even the 3 years that preceded it, to be honest with you. So I would be surprised if they went back to WWE, especially since they don't give a fuck about tag team wrestling. I don't know how much money they would even be offered there. They would probably just get lowballed. I mean, I don't see them going back. I don't really. It would have been cool at one point, but to do what? They've already held the tag titles there. All their tag titles, the Raw, SmackDown, and NXT tag titles. They weren't booked great the first time. Triple H booked them great in NXT, but Triple H isn't really prioritizing tag team wrestling right now. He doesn't give a fuck about that division. So they can run back them against Enzo and Cass if they get brought back? No, that's so fucking 10 years ago. I have no interest in that at all. I mean, they're bringing in so many great teams to AEW that there's more for them to do there. They are 3 or 4 time NXT or AEW tag team champions, sure. But there also are a lot of teams they can still work with there. New teams, Bring in the Machine Guns, the fucking New Day they can work with again. There's so many fucking teams they can work with there. I see no reason as to why they should leave. Genuinely, aside from the money, it would be interesting. I would be shocked. Unless they just want to lead a dead division on Raw and SmackDown, I see no reason why they would go back. I think that would just be kind of a waste, to be honest with you, but it's their decision, so they could do whatever they want. All right, so we will wrap it up here with anything left in the chat before we get on out of here. Let's see. Nathaniel liked Shazam 1. I like Shazam 1. Shazam 1 was good. I did enjoy it, I will say. The second one, not so much. This Squirter, what's going on, brother? He said, did Roman flex his political muscle to main event over Cody? Will the beef ever cease? I don't think that was a Roman flexing thing. I think they just want to stack that card of 2 title matches, and Roman and Fatu is the bigger match. Cody and Gunther is kind of a new feud. So, no, I don't think really it's a political issue at all. Squirter also said thoughts on them messing with Ethan's theme. I noticed that on Raw. They didn't drastically change it. I don't really think they needed to change it at all. But what they did, I thought was fine. Jeremy, what's going on, brother? He said, do you think it's time to just end the Vision as a faction? It's absolutely cursed and just an injury to theory away from having every member get hurt. Yeah, I said that when Reed got hurt and the faction. The faction sucked even really then. I mean, I like the Vision, but it's kind of like, at this point, I don't really care about it, and Logan getting hurt just kind of should be the final nail in the coffin. Was I a Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle fan, Squirter asked. Yes, I would listen to their clips on the same channel that Solomonster was on. TV Tracks. I didn't listen to their solo shows. I did listen to their clips for a few years when I followed that channel for a while. And they were great. Rip Kevin Castle. I know he passed away last year. Fernando said, I prefer MJF versus Will Ospreay at All In. Yeah, I don't. We've already seen that. I know we've already seen Omega and MJF too, or Omega and MJF and Ospreay rather, but it's been longer since Ospreay and Omega, so I prefer that. Who should be next for MJF? He asks. He has to face someone at Forbidden Door, I would think. I don't know. I think Omega should face him again at Forbidden Door or the July pay-per-view. Who he faces at Forbidden Door? I forgot where that show is taking place. I don't know. I'm not sure who's next for him. I am not sure. Thoughts on the Kevinite turn? I thought it was great. Really well executed. Eric said, my only issue with Oba winning King of the Ring is where does he go twice? What does that mean? When he wins King of the Ring, he fucking wins the belt. I mean, obviously. Fernando said, I agree about Eddie Edwards. I've been waiting for someone to say everything that was said. I never understood his main event push. There you go. Not an Eddie Edwards fan, really. Squirter said, do you think they will bring in any of the newer wrestlers from AAA? I don't know. Newer? I think you botched it. I think that's a typo, Squirter. I don't know what you're talking about. Fernando said, there are reports that Wardlow is backstage. Can he salvage his career that once looked so promising? I think his goose is cooked, to be honest with you. He's been hurt so many times. The booking's been so bad. Unless he leaves for WWE, I don't think he's ever going to get back to where he was. Is Wardlow's AEW's biggest wasted potential? Yeah, probably. Probably. Between injuries and booking, I would say so, yes. In addition to the fact he was an original newer name and not a WWE cast-off. Squirter said, do you think Knight will link with the Hurt Syndicate, Swerve, and Callis, or stay on his own? I think he should stay on his own. I mean, you could put him in the Hurt Syndicate, but like they're baby faces right now. That wouldn't even make sense. Do not put him with fucking Don Callis, please. Swerve would make sense, given their history. I would still keep him on his own. Ahmed, what's going on, man? He said, I got Seth winning the tournament due to WWE teasing his match with Roman a couple of weeks back. I could see that too. I don't really want to see that, but I could see why they would do that. Eric said, I completely agree with everything the guy said about not just Eddie, but the entire system. Yeah, the system are just kind of I don't really care too much about, the group is fine. I mean, I don't really, it is what it is. What are your thoughts on them messing with Ethan's theme? I already answered that, if that was your question. Did you like the Ascension? In NXT, on the main roster, they were buried immediately, and they were fucking jobbers. I mean, for a little bit, there was a brief period where I was an Ascension fan, yes. I thought their theme was great. Dark State will never be like the Shield. I agree, Noob, of course. Ahmed said, I hope I'm wrong, because they want the belt off of Roman at SummerSlam, because I know he will show up less after the summer is over. I hope you're right. It's Braun Breaker, but don't count out Seth winning the tournament as well. I agree. You're absolutely right that it's totally possible. I don't really want that, because the whole story is Roman needs to beat Seth. He's never beaten him one-on-one on pay-per-view, I don't think. And Seth would win. I mean, I don't want Roman beating Seth, and I don't really want Seth as world champion. So that's a match I'd rather see non-title personally. Eric said, I can see one of the losers of the four-way. For what? What are you talking about, Eric? Fernando said, why do you think there has been no interest from WWE and AEW signing from Moose, even when his partnership from WWE has with TNA? We saw Moose in NXT once during the invasion. It might just be because at this point he's older. I mean, WWE absolutely had interest in Moose a few years ago, and then he opted to stay with TNA. He also has like a charge against him or something, but I mean, so did Fatu, and Fatu got fucking hired, so whatever. WWE had interest years ago. He stayed in TNA. That was his choice. Maybe for the better, because at that point Vince was still there, and maybe he would have gotten buried and fired. Who knows? At this point, he's a TNA lifer. He's been there a fucking decade. He's older. AEW. AEW doesn't really like bigger guys. They've brought in bigger guys and they haven't really done well. So I don't really think AEW ever wanted Moose. Although he did face Kenny Omega, I think, for the TNA World title, believe it or not, many years ago. Nathaniel said, would you think LA Knight would win Queen of the... LA Knight, and I don't think he's winning Queen of the Ring. I don't think he'll even win King of the Ring either. How would you feel about Maxine joining the division? I don't want that because I don't want her hurt. Yeah. If the curse is real, then yeah. I don't care about that. We've talked about that before. Maxon joining the division, what would that even accomplish? Who cares, you know? Do you think DC should make a Shazam 3? I'm not sure they will. They won't. The second one wasn't a success. They rebooted the DC. They've already confirmed they're not doing that. Daniel said, whatever happened to TV tracks? I think he just kind of gave up. I think he just kind of stopped posting shit and he was done in the game. That's what Solomonster has said. He just kind of didn't want to post anymore and he just moved on. So good for him. That was like almost 10 years ago, and he has not been seen since. The guy could be dead for all we know, but hopefully he's doing well. Richie said, Enzo and Big Cass return to the Fed, ? Seemingly so. That's what the reports indicate. It's not 2016 anymore, but I talked about that in greater length on WrestleRant Radio last week. The clip is up here on the channel from over the weekend if you want to check it out. What's the ceiling for Royce Keys? I think he can be like a main event guy, like a world champion. They really have to book him well. Will he be a world champion? I don't know. Is that his ceiling? I think so. I felt that way about him in AEW too. I think Royce Keys is great. Will he get there? I don't know. But if he doesn't, I think it's more of a company thing and not because of him unless he gets hurt. Eric said, I mean, does Oba go to SummerSlam, go to at SummerSlam because he's retiring Brock and then him versus Roman or Fatu? Yeah, but if Oba's going to win King of the Ring, he has to beat Brock this Saturday. If he loses to Brock on Sunday, rather, at Clash in Italy, he's facing Brock at SummerSlam because he's got to beat him again. Like, they can't just leave that unanswered. He's got to fucking beat Brock. To have Oba lose to Brock and then have him win King of the Ring would just be stupid. I think he might lose to Brock and then he'll probably go back after him again. Very likely at SummerSlam. I really don't care to see that again, to be honest with you, for a third fucking time. That's probably what they're doing. It doesn't benefit anyone, but whatever. Who had more personality, Austin Theory or Swagger? Easily Austin Theory. Don't do Theory like that. Swagger had no... Theory has more personality in his fucking pinky finger than Swagger ever did. Fernando said, are we in the best era for people of color in wrestling right now across the board? It's a good question. Yeah. I mean, was there a period where it's ever been better than it is right now? I mean, it obviously could be better in WWE. But you also are pushing. They've done a good job of turning that around in WWE. I mean, for the women, it's always kind of been there with Bianca and Jade. But with the men, they were slacking there for a while. But then they started pushing Trick and Oba and Javon. They brought in Royce Keys. Kevin Knight is great. Swerve was the first Black AEW World Champion a few years ago. So yeah, I mean, is now the best. It could be better, but is this the best era so far? Probably, yeah. Probably, yeah. You said across the board in wrestling. When did TNA have a Black World? I mean, I know Moose was champion a few years ago. I'm trying to think. Swerve and Moose might have been champion at the same time, actually. Yeah. There's been a lot of, obviously Big E was champion a few years ago. Bobby Lashley. I would probably say so, Fernando. I would probably say so. Eric said, I could see one of the losers of the women's four-way replacing Willow in the tournament. Yeah, probably Sheeta or Statlander, like I said. The fact that Statlander's not in it is kind of crazy. Nathaniel said, what does Brock do if he loses this weekend? Nothing. Hopefully he goes away because there's fucking nothing more for him to do. I mean, the only other match I could see him doing is Gunther, but would Brock really lose 3 straight on his, like, I would be very shocked. Unless they do Brock Oba 3, even though Brock lost twice to him, that would also be dumb. That's why I just don't think the rematch is necessary. I wonder when Liv will defend her title. Hopefully soon. It's been over a month, and they're setting up Bayley, maybe? They got to cut to the chase. AEW's tag team division is better than WWE's right now. I agree. Definitely is. Nathaniel said, I'm not sure LA Knight will ever win the world title. Me neither. I don't think it's fucking happening. If it hasn't happened by now, clearly Triple H does not see him in that light. I don't think he ever will. I hate to say it. And Richie said, as we wind down here, do we think Oba wins the triple single? He might win the triple single. I don't think he wins King of the Ring, but I do think he wins triple single right next to, you have Bon Quivi. Bon Quivi's he's a very popular front runner to win the triple single. But you also got Trevor too, and everyone fucking hates Trevor. As long as he beats Trevor, that's all I'm content with. If he doesn't win the triple single, that's fine. But as long as during the tournament he beats Trevor, that's all I care about. Bon Quivi for the W, though. Bon Quivi's my guy. We will wrap up there. I got to get going, guys, but thank you so much for another great episode. I appreciate it. Shout out to the channel members, Alexis, Miss Maud Matthews, Dillon DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel Malcolm at Quarter on X, DJ Swerve1 at Swerve1 on IG, Mr. Marceau at RJ_Marceau on X, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube, Richie, Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube, and Average Grunt at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. More information on that down below. If you want to send in a question to the show, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Be sure to find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video after it's done processing, and I'll include your question in next week's edition. Be sure to like the video on the way out. That is always appreciated, helping with algorithm shit and whatnot. Thank you so much for that. Be sure to subscribe as well. Turn on notifications for every time we upload new content and go live here on the channel. Typically, Tuesdays for hashtag AskGSM and Thursdays for WrestleRant Radio. Time TBD for Thursday. I'll keep you guys posted on that. We will be live on Thursday at some point. Not sure if it's in the morning, afternoon, but most likely on Thursday we will be live. I'll give my some additional thoughts on Double or Nothing, Saturday night's main event, Clash in Italy predictions. We'll talk a little bit more about this FTR report and anything else that happens in wrestling between now and then. Maybe a little Knicks talk too, since they're doing well and sweeping the Cavs. If only for Daniel. I know Richie appreciates the Trevor slander. Fuck that guy. He also said, if not Gunther versus Brock, any interest in him versus Trevor? Yeah, only so Gunther could, or if Brock or Gunther could destroy Trevor, that's all I care about. Or Oba. If anyone can destroy Trevor, that's all I care about. So yes, I would pay money to see that. Does Oba win the Cena Classic? Likely, but hopefully he wins the world title too, and not just this pointless fucking Cena belt that I already forgot about. Fernando said, is Penta becoming one of the best IC champs we've seen in many years? I mean, he's not better than Gunther. Gunther is probably the best IC champion of all time. But yeah, he's probably had the best reign since Gunther. Breaker had a good run. It's been, I mean, Penta's only been champion for 2 months, so it's kind of too soon to say, but he's had some great fucking bangers with Dragon Lee, the title match at Mania, the ladder match at Mania, Ethan Page on Saturday, which was great. The Javon match was great on Monday. Yeah, Penta's been a great champion so far. Ahmed said, I'm getting bored of Roman as champion already. It's the same shit every week. We're approaching that point. I'm not there yet, but we'll see what happens with the Fatu feud. I would think Fatu winning on Saturday or Sunday would be fucking great. Don't think it's going to happen, though. Yeah, Trevor can't catch a break because he sucks, Daniel, because he fucking sucks. You know, Trevor also likes Daniel, and you're not going to like him either after I say that. He was a Cavs fan, too. He likes the fucking Cavs. And Trevor's the biggest jobber he's also the biggest piece of shit in the business as well, Richie. And Arthur for King of the Ring, hi, listen, we like Arthur. We like Arthur. We like Bon Quivi. We fucking hate Trevor. That's how it works here in hashtag AskGSM. You come for the questions, you stay for the Bon Quivi. That's a t-shirt idea if I've ever heard one. But at any rate, guys, thank you so much for an awesome stream here today. Like the video on the way out if you haven't already. I would appreciate that. Have a great rest every week. And we will be right back here on the channel on Thursday for WrestleRant Radio. And yes, Daniel, Trevor is a Cavs fan. Sit on that. Let it simmer a little bit. And just know, yeah, you can't defend Trevor for that. Fuck Trevor for that. I'm talking about what did Trevor do? He's a piece of shit. He doesn't need to do anything. Trevor's he's a fucking asshole. That's what he did. He existed. He fucking exists. I'm gonna get out of here before I'm getting a little hot. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Fernando. He said, go bleep yourself, Trevor. No, I'll say it for you, Fernando. Go fuck yourself, Trevor. Go fuck yourself. Wherever you might be, whoever you might be, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry, Tyreek. I know Tyreek might be a Trevor guy. Tyreek's got to choose. Is he choosing Bonquivi and us and Arthur? Or is he more of is he a Trevor guy? That's what people, he's a Trevor guy. Richie's popping for the burial. I appreciate that, Richie. But you never want to be a Trevor guy. You want to be a WrestleRant guy. You want to be a fucking Bonquivi guy. You want to be you know what you guys want to be? And I'll leave you with this. You want to be a Love Ziggler guy. That's what you want to be. That's what you want to be. That is where you want to be. That's who you want to be with. Go Love Ziggler. None of this Trevor shit. We're dropping pipe bombs. This is why you stayed till the end of the video. Because we go off on people. He's catching strays, as he should. Because he's a fucking asshole. And Richie's saying random dude named Trevor watching the stream right now is crying right now. I'm sorry. I'm not disrespecting that Trevor. I'm disrespecting the Trevor. And he knows who I'm talking about. He knows that he's watching. I know that he's watching. Love Ziggler guy till I die. Graham Crash Out on it said, yeah, we're crashing out on fucking Trevor because fuck him. He's a piece of shit. Bonquivi, Love Ziggler, Arthur, for life. That is what we say here on #AskGSM. All right. I'm crashing out. Pipe bomb over. Have a great week, guys. And like I said, let's go Love fucking Ziggler. And last thing, fuck you, Trevor.